Hello there, taxidermists and gentle peeps, and welcome to the first in Digital Taxidermy Gets Under the Hotend. I'm Neil Woodman from Digital Taxidermy, and this is Martin from Under the Hotend, who'll be joining us tonight and in the future to bring us all some amazing stuff. So, Martin, do you want to introduce yourself?
How you doing? I'm Martin, as some of you may know as Under the Hotend, and I generally do a lot in the community on printing and bringing you all new content on what's coming out and all new tech. I work with guys like Digital Taxidermy on promoting their new Kickstarters and awesome designs, and hopefully we can show you some new things and we can help any issues that you may have. Generally, we just have a talk out.
So hopefully most of you that are joining us are familiar with digital taxidermy in general, and we design and create STLs for 3D printing. We also test and develop systems and designs for pushing the limits of 3D printing, dealing also with things like virtual reality, augmented reality, and like wherever we can go, really. Living on the edge of technology, because if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. And this is where I found Martin. Because Martin seems to be buried in like a tick with everybody that is developing, producing, and innovating in the 3D printing world. So he's managed to hook us up with lots of people that have helped us out with designs and builds for 3D printers, troubleshooting software and hardware issues, and generally making things awesome. So, yeah.
I do try.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been lucky enough. I work with quite a large number of producers in the community, whether it be from producing a new machine entirely or an accessory or even down to the material products that generally we're all using or we want to be using. I generally am pretty well connected with most of the guys in that industry. And when I had the opportunity to work with Digital Taxidermy on one of the things that I love doing myself, which is my main hobby, is miniature wargaming and tabletop painting, that side of things. The two sort of went hand in hand, so I sort of took it upon myself really to connect Neil with some of the guys that I work with, and so far so good.
Nice. Yeah, it was interesting. He contacted us out of the blue. Was like, I like your stuff. Can I have some things to try out? I want to show them to people. By the way, I've got an Instagram. I was like, okay. um, but yeah, no, it's been an amazing to collaborate over the time. Not only has Martin helped to get our name out, but also, as I say, the contacts and his knowledge in things is fantastic. So,
Yeah, thank
um,
you very much.
it looks like we've got somebody here, a couple of people here. Don't know if you want to make yourself known in the chat. Say hello. We'd like to get to know who you are, who's about, what you're thinking. We have a little plan for things to discuss, but it'd be interesting to get your feedback and get to know you guys, get to know where this channel is going to go. Um, we've got lots of things to talk about. It's just a case of whether you want to hear them or not.
Yeah, we've probably got more than most people want to hear, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a thing. Um, so I mean, do you want to kick us off with what's the latest thing that's been going on in your experience of 3D printing?
Oh, there's probably about 101 things at the moment. It's actually such a good time to be in the community, to be honest. There's
Yeah,
so many new products coming out. It's kind of getting hard for me to keep up. So for the general public to keep up, it's insane. Um,
yeah. You were telling me that you've now got piles and piles of different filaments and things to try out and test and
yeah,
run through the machines and dial in.
yeah, I've been lucky enough actually to receive some new products, if you like, and new companies from new companies that are actually hitting the market at the moment, especially in the UK and the EU, which is quite nice. We've got a lot of companies that are now doing sister companies that are sort of concentrating on the UK and Europe market. I've been lucky enough to receive so far about 3 or 4 new rolls of new products. They've just arrived in. So I'm going to be playing with those over the next couple of weeks. I was lucky enough to receive one from uh, Iono, I think it is.
You knew? You
Iono,
knew.
I knew.
ERIO? No, you're
Yeah,
right.
proper Devonshire, so it's which is a bonus because obviously being Devonshire, that sort of name works in for me.
Mm.
So yeah, that I'm looking forward to because it's a new gold rather than the traditional bright gold. It's more of an man-made gold, if you like.
Yeah, so those metallic colours can be a bit of a pain sometimes, can't they?
They can. I mean, what I generally find with metallics is depending on what temperature you're flowing through your hot end, will alter the color slightly. So, and it will definitely change the bed adhesion and how it plays through your printer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all a case of a bit of trial and error with silks and metallics just to work out what's actually working right for your machine.
Well, this This kind of leads me into a pretty good question, actually. It's like with so many different filaments that you're getting your hands on, and also brand new ones, how do you go about dialing those in? Because I assume you can't just dump them in there and away you go. Obviously,
Um,
you do like temp towers, and do
yeah,
they give it some specifications, or is it a bit random?
generally with most of mine, if it's a standard PLA, I generally will start a print on my standard setup, if you like. I've got a standard setup that generally runs pretty well on most normal PLAs. And then from there, if I'm getting issues, this is when I'll run a temp tower, I'll run a string test, I'll run a stress test through my machine for it. I will look at, how it's adhering, how it's bonding. I'll go a bit more into depth, and then generally after a couple of days, I've usually nailed it pretty well. I've had one so far out of about 100 rolls. It's just been an absolute nightmare, and that was generally, I found out in the end it was due to moisture from the factory. So basically, I ran mine through a Philly dryer for 4.5 hours, and you could tell the amount of moisture in there.
Right.
And my whole filler dryer was basically soaking at the end of it,
Wow.
and
Okay.
it
So
was,
so moisture really does really have a massive effect on the filament
yeah,
and how it operates, does it?
definitely. You'll generally find if you popped open a new filament and start running, within the first sort of 10 minutes, if you start getting a slight popping, like a little ticking noise, you've got moisture of some description.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So
So it's like,
typically,
yeah, and that will then leave artifacts on the thing, or does that cause it to pull apart, create strings?
you can get basically pieces missing where it's popped and it's taking its time to come back through.
Yeah.
You may get
Because
a,
obviously, if there's a pocket of water,
a bit of
then
moisture
it vaporizes at the
as it comes
200
through.
degrees and therefore effectively creates an explosion inside
Exactly.
the filament, which will create a void.
Exactly. You either get a void. The worst one I ever had, it was actually causing such a pocket in my hot end that it was just constantly clogging my hot end, to be honest. Every 20 minutes, I was just getting a clog.
Right. Okay.
So there's a multitude of issues it can cause. Like I say, it'll miss bits or it'll just totally change your heat dynamic, if you like, of your hot end because it's causing cool spots almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then your board's then trying to fight to heat it back up. So then you get that spike. If your peak's not ready, if you're not pitch tuned in properly on your printer, it's going to spike up and then come back down.
Yeah. It's an inconsistency. So you can't
Exactly.
plan for it, and therefore, because you're trying to effectively extrude 100 meters of
Filament.
filament in the
You want
same consistent manner, this causes it to stop and start, which then
exactly.
causes a lot of problems.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can pretty much as a long list behind moisture trapped in the filament. There's a long list of issues that it can cause.
Nice. Yeah.
So
Okay. So it's quite a process then to dial in one of these filaments. Um,
can be.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
can
yeah.
be.
I suppose you end up with some where you get to do you get to an end of a roll before you've actually got it working.
um, I'm usually quite lucky. Um, I think the worst I've had, I've probably lost about half a roll.
Right. Okay. Yeah, yeah,
About
yeah.
half a
So
roll is,
at
yeah.
that point, you should have it pretty well dialed in, depending on
Yeah,
no matter how exotic it is
yeah,
or what you're trying to print. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, generally on a standard PLA, it'll take me first print, maybe two prints, and I'm there. Of small calibration prints, and you normally would have it nailed by then.
So you were saying about torture tests that you run them through. Like, what are
Yeah,
the torture tests you run?
torture tests to actually get it down to a refined point where you can see different scales on your print. So you can
Right.
go from different holes. So you can gauge your hole accuracy to overhangs, to spikes, pillars, and even bridging is all combined in one torture test, if you like. So basically, I use like a mega torture test that's got all the elements in one. All the toughest elements you can think of are in one model. You set your print going, and if you're successful, it will produce all these different torture areas with no fails.
Right. Okay.
If you fail somewhere in the middle, though, that's the areas you've got to then look at on your printer or your filament.
Yeah. 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 So I am one of these guys that has never printed a Benji.
I almost held my hand up then because I have actually never printed a standard Benchy.
Right.
I have you know the megalodon, the shark Benchy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a bit of a thing for that at one point, so I printed off a whole row of them. I had probably 20 of these shark benches. So I
Right.
just wanted to see if they'd float.
Yeah. Fair play. And did they?
No.
No.
No, in honesty, no,
Amazing
they
stuff.
really didn't.
Well, while there's we're still in early days, I'm gonna start by cracking the first bottle,
Yeah, definitely.
and might as well get into this.
One thing I am getting is I'm actually not seeing comments at the minute, so I'm missing something.
No, no, there's been no comments at the moment. There's a few people watching, but no comments yet. So make yourself known
Yeah,
in the chat, people. Be good to
yeah.
get to know
I'll
you.
join in.
See who's about, what's going on. Let us know if you've got any questions, anything you want to hear, whatever. I'm sure we can get to that. Hey, Ms. Catalyst, how's it going? Nice to have you on board. What do you reckon? How's the sound quality? Is it good? Well, we'll see what happens there. Um, so yeah, no, I've never printed a Benchy, but I design a lot of very technical models that require fine tolerances and it's kind of designed by the numbers. So I deal with models where you're talking about, right, what's the minimum width of something? So if you're trying to replicate detail, a piece of detail needs to be a minimum of 0 0.8 millimeters. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were doing wall thicknesses, I mean, I've done some YouTube videos about design with wall thicknesses and such. So 1.2 can end up becoming too small. 0.8 can work because it's two perimeters with no infill. 1.6 mil is kind of your ideal starter for 10. You can do curves, you can do angles, and all that sort of thing.
Sure.
Then a lot of the other things that I design are based around tight tolerances, push fit. I like to design models that go together without glue.
Yeah.
So I use them basically to calibrate a lot of the printers. So I've got my own torture tests, and so
Yeah.
most of my designs are designed to torture printers.
I think I've gone through quite a few of your torture tests over the last few months, to be honest.
Yeah,
I've run a few of them.
the spool tower range especially has been
Yeah.
was a real learning curve for us, because while at that point we had learnt a bit about how to design at the limits of what a 3D printer could do, we were still learning all of the tricks for bringing things out. So we're still uncovering things that we can improve in those models, and just keeping updating them really.
Yeah, I think
So
that's the key, to be honest.
with those, we were experimenting with a zero point 0.8 millimeter wall thickness all the way around. So it's like
Yeah.
as little filament as possible, no supports, everything overhanging, just a teeny, just enough.
I think the was it the Truel common walls?
Yeah, true common.
There was the walls for the outside wall. They were very similar. They were very minimal filament, but keeping that perfect hole for the filament side
Yep.
to connect them. That was quite a taxing one to start with, because if you had your bed slightly set wrong, those holes just they could be hard work.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They were hard work, you know.
Yeah, it so some of the times you're kind of like we do a lot of print in place parts. So from our first Kickstarter, our dystopian future, one of the key features that we were going for was that we were going to have print in place moving doors, and like parts that would print off as part of the model. You'd take them off and they'd function straight out of it. So that was playing with tolerances. You know, what's the minimum gap? What's the minimum gap that you need to make a model that can reliably be replicated by pretty much anybody? You know, without like having to have it totally calibrated. So one of the things, here we go. Here's one I made earlier. So this one is from our Polston gun. Woo! I
Nice.
can't find the base at the moment, but the wheels they all, that one,
That's kind of pretty cool. I like
the
that.
wheels all turn, right, and they print out. They print out. Yeah. Can we get that in focus? Can we get that in focus? No, not
Yeah,
really.
that's pretty
But you
cool.
can see there's a hub buried
Yeah,
in
yeah.
there, and they print
So that
out
was
off the bed all as one piece, but they spin. Um, so that's something that we've really tried to push and tried to work on. And our last Kickstarter, the Walker, the Proxygenator's Gambit, used a lot of 3D printed joints, and as if by magic, here's what he has there. So
it's
there you go. I
pretty,
mean, tell me how that went.
pretty cool, to be honest. Yeah, I think probably the hardest part on this was maybe the leg,
Right.
maybe. But when I say hard, it was nothing particularly hard about it. It actually printed really quite well.
Nice.
I think the only time I had a fail was on the first leg you sent over.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the
The
ultimately
prototype
first.
designs. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was purely because it wasn't sitting too nice on the bed.
Right.
I think it
Okay.
was
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
my slicing error rather than your design error, if you like.
Yeah.
Other than
But
that,
then that's why we send out some things for people to test and feedback,
yeah,
because then we know if we've missed anything, and then we can fix the files. You know, it's
yeah, I
part of
mean,
our rigorous feedback process.
like I ended up messaging you. I think I only had the right front, right back. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And not the left front and left back. So that was a little bit confusing to start with. I thought, oh, hang on, I'm doing something wrong here. But
Well,
it was still in
that's
development.
exactly it. But I mean, that's all part of our process. You know, I mean, it's handy to have people like yourself. There's a few more people that we send files out to while we're in the development phase, with very little instruction as well. It's just
Yeah.
like, here's some files. Does it
Have a go
work?
at that.
And then we could gauge from that whether A, it's easy for people to understand, B, can they just drop it into their slicer and press print and go, and C, if they do that, does it cause any problems?
Yeah.
You
Does
know.
it go mad? Yeah, no, on a whole, that was an absolutely awesome print. I've loved printing the Walker, to be fair, because it's like, it's got a very sort of AT-AT Walker feel, if you like, or ATFT or whatever it is out of Star Wars.
Yeah,
It's got that sort of feel to it, but it's not.
yeah.
It's
Well,
yeah.
it was like the child that nobody loved, because if you put it in a group for 40k, they were like, "Oh, is that a Star Wars?" And if you put it in a group for Star Wars, they were like, "That's 240k." You know,
Yeah,
so
like
you couldn't win on that one.
yeah,
But
I love
actually,
it.
there was a lot of people that seemed to like it, and the first models have started coming off the line. Like
Yeah,
we
I
had
mean,
some
I love it.
photos
I mean,
today. Had some photos today in the Digital Taxidermist group, of somebody that's just printed one out and had it doing lots of little tricks, like standing on its hind legs and stuff, which is
yeah,
pretty
it
cool.
is so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm my next plan is to actually put the dog's lead on it and see what my dash hounds do. I just want to see what they go out like, because I think that could be so fun.
Replace the feet with some wheels.
You just drag it around the front room, like, you know.
I mean, you probably could. You probably could, because there's a little hub in there.
Yeah, you could. I think you could probably, if I took this filament point back out,
Yeah,
you could probably get away with putting a wheel in
yeah,
just inside here. So
yeah.
I
I
think that
reckon you
would
could.
probably work.
There'd be room. There'd be room. And just
I
tug
think
it
that could
down
be
the
quite.
street. It'd be pretty cool.
I think that could be quite fun. So watch this space. That might happen yet.
Yes. So we've had a few more people in the chat join us. There's been a couple of people come and go. So hi there, new people. Make yourself known. We'd like to get to know you all. What do you reckon? Anything you want to hear about? So yeah.
I mean, currently for me, I'm actually printing the last parts off for the Walker at the moment. I've been a bit lax, to be honest. I got a bit snowed under. I felt a bit unwell for the last day or so. So I'm now getting the actual missiles, and the radars are actually printing as we speak.
Oh wow. Okay, for the AA back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
nice,
I
nice.
finally, I've just about got on to doing that now. They're on the go.
All right. Yep. Nice.
So hopefully they'll be finished by later on this evening.
Yep.
So that'd be good.
Ah, Brick Gamer 3055. It's Andy from Games Nation. Hi, Andy.
Yo,
Hi. How are you?
how you doing, Andy? How's
Nice,
that shop
nice,
going?
nice, nice. So, Andy has had some of our bits and pieces from Troll Common, down at his game store, which is open for business.
It
Open for
is.
business now. He is ready and waiting to fill his tables with amazing gamers. Lots of fun to be had there. Video games,
Definitely.
board games, tabletop games, miniature gaming, anything that you can game.
He basically
Except
does,
blackjack. He doesn't do blackjack.
except for blackjack. Yeah, he does Pokemon. He does any sort of board gaming you can hit. He'll take on digital gaming. He's got consoles galore. So if you're ever looking for a console game,
Yep.
you want to hit 80 up, he's got games galore.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, we again, this is another person that we've met through Martin. So he was setting up a game shop and was looking for some terrain. So we have hooked him up with some of the test prints and bits from Trawl Common. Martin has also printed some out, and Martin is also one of these people that spends time actually painting. You know
I
how
am
people
guilty.
have miniatures that are unpainted? Martin paints.
I am guilty. I know.
Yeah, he's that guy.
I am that guy that actually likes to see if you're looking at a gaming table for it to be painted. It is a pet hate of mine seeing like non-painted figures on the table.
Yes. Yeah. Then, although you know they're called Grey Knights for a reason.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, at least paint them grey. At least use a paintbrush. That's what they're there for. You know, there's a whole business built around making paintbrushes and paint. So generally, in my mind, it's there to be used.
Well, exactly, and it
You
does
know,
help bring out those details. You know, though
definitely.
unpainted detail is just lumps of plastic.
That's it. At the end of the day, it's either it's lumps of forgottenness, isn't it? In my mind.
Yeah, exactly. So what are your favorite miniatures? Because we've spoken about stuff before, and I know that you're very passionate about this.
I am a bit passionate about it. I am. I was lucky enough. I've been in the miniature wargaming realm for longer than I care to remember, to be honest. So I've seen a lot of companies come and go, and unfortunately, my favorite all time favorite company in the world has actually got the demised in 2000. I think it was 2000 2001, which was Raptime, which was a French company um, who basically employed the best designers anywhere in the world, and their figures are so exquisite. It's incredible. I mean, I was lucky enough. I did get a parcel the other day with, funnily enough, with a couple that come in the other day,
Oh, you bought some
which
more.
a little bit random. These are elementals, so they're a little bit random, but they tend to make, or did tend to make, um, figures that most people wouldn't dare to make, if you like.
Yeah.
They were sort of like so far advanced compared to all their competitors that you just fell in love with them when you seen them, and you thought, I've got to have that, even though I don't want to play the game. I need to buy that figure.
Were they kind of suitable for other games as well, or was it just literally
Yeah,
for?
no, it's based on a fantasy realm. So basically, they brought out 3 game sets, which was a city battle game, City of Thieves, which was great. Very skirmishy, sort of. You had to sneak around and sort of rob your opponents, if you like, which was quite fun. You could play with 1 or 2 miniatures.
Yeah.
The main game they sort of focused on was Confrontation,
Yep.
which was a very Warhammer Fantasy style board game. So it was quite big numbers, and you generally diced it out.
But a very different aesthetic.
Yeah, and there was a lot more intense rules behind it, if you like.
Right.
It went more into sort of like your magic and aura and that side of things, which was quite cool.
Yeah, rather than just weapon skill and movement and
Yeah,
how many dice can you throw?
yeah. How many hits can you get in before you go down, sort of
Did
thing?
they have like a campaign system with it as well, so you allowed growth for your units?
Sort of. Yeah, there was a whole sideline to it called Cry Havoc, which was a monthly magazine, I believe. It was out every month, and
Yeah.
that had extra campaign parts with new players and new figures and new stats and what you could combine, and which was quite nice because it was so well illustrated. Just the book itself was just stunning. It was just like worth owning the book, never mind playing the game. It was really nice to read and
Right.
really nice fluff content to it.
So
Um,
basically, like White Dwarf, but for like upper class.
oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, we'll go with upper class white dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically what they've done is they've branched out and brought out a side game called Hybrid, which was a dungeon crawler, which is what generally attracted me so much to your biolabs. When I seen your biolabs, I thought, oh my god, this can work.
Oh right,
So
so it sort of fit the aesthetic that they had.
yeah, it's
That's
basically
that's very interesting. So I mean, one of the things from our perspective is, of course, we know of like the big games. So of course you got like Dungeons and Dragons, you got Warhammer 40k, you got Warhammer Fantasy Battle. There's like Necromunda, you got like Bolt
Spiteful.
Action. You know, you got those big games that everybody knows. But we are still finding out every day other
New game.
games that our stuff, people have got their eyes on our stuff to use.
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
know,
exactly
there's
for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was, I, it worked perfectly for me because I am a big Space Hulk fan as well. I love Space Hulk. It's a classic.
yeah,
Big gene stealers, loads of men, kill each other.
yeah,
Brilliant. Great fun. You
yeah,
know. Yeah. It's a game in itself, isn't it? That everybody can enjoy. It's got that aliens feel to it,
yes.
but it involves big ass space marines in big
Did you
holy
ever
suits.
play Lost Patrol?
Lost Patrol, great game, great game,
Yeah,
great
yeah, yeah,
game.
yeah. I mean, like you don't win that. It's merely a game of how long can you last.
Yeah, can you survive for a while?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like you'll never win. Like
No.
it's really hard to win.
Well, basically, for me, when they brought out Hybrid, I was lucky enough to be at their release date, which was in London at Salute. It's a big convention called Salute, which is all different board games from all over the country, all go there to basically show their games off and try and get people interested. It's a
Mm.
big convention, absolute awesome day out. If anybody gets a chance to go there, do it. It is well worth it. Well, basically, I was there when they released Hybrid. So I met the designers of Hybrid back in the day,
Yeah,
and I was lucky enough to get a signed copy. And I fell in love with the game. It was basically when you were in confrontation, it was basically a hidden door, if you like, a trap door in the side of a mountain.
yeah.
You went through it, and you ended up in this lost biolab, which
Right.
was yeah, which was pretty epic. It was basically where they made mutations on what they class as the Scorpions Durs army,
Right, okay.
where
So
they've been
that was
crying.
kind of like a mutant faction or something.
Yeah, it was where they were cryogenically merging things together and making random weirdness, which was
Nice.
pretty awesome. I love that sort of thing. um, now, in it's very similar to what you've done with your Lost Biolabs concept. You go through like this clean, almost medical environment, and you end up in this total infected weirdness. And for me, it was when I seen yours, I thought, oh my god, this is the perfect thing for this game that hasn't been around for a long time.
Yeah. So you
You
kind of
know,
a bit of a revive, bringing things
yeah,
back into the fore, and it's been
exactly.
quite good for us as well because it's led us down the kind of bio horror route, which has really allowed me to get pretty deep into my own kind of alien horrible kind of
Weirdness.
really unlock those kind of like dark side things that really shouldn't come to light, you know.
Oh,
So
I think
I keep working on new bio horror stuff. So like the dice tower, the plants and things. I'm working on a few bits and pieces in VR at the moment. and I've got a whole folder of real inspirational horror show stuff. So hopefully there'll be some more of that coming to the fore sometime soon.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? It's you've stumbled onto something that's then leading to other areas that can it can basically go anywhere, can't it?
Yes.
It's just based on how dark and weird you want to go, really.
Well, one of the things, of course, that we've been trying to do from the outset was create our own fluff. So,
Yeah,
how do you? Why are these things here? Why do they exist? So,
exactly.
we sort of created a fictional universe, our dystopian future, and these things are all linked in the blog section of our website. And there's like
We suggest people going
11
to watch,
short
read
stories
that.
at the moment. That they're based around things that happen, the models and future concepts that we want to bring to life. So it's sort of about 60 years in the future. Um, massive global failure of things, kind of like a Judge Dredd esque scenario. Um, but then you have like the megacorps that have taken over, and there's like 8 megacorps that run different areas of society, and the buildings and features and robots and stuff all depict different things that are going on there. So it started with like cash for organs and the pleasure pods and Jim's limbs. So
On the
it,
school,
sorry.
on the school towers and things.
No, that was before then. I mean, the spool
Yeah,
towers eventually the fusion plant
that's the one I'm
became
thinking of. Yeah.
has its own origin story of why that was there, and it was about harnessing the power of outrage. So the entire future is powered purely by outrage. So
Oh, what?
everybody has the half hour hate. You know, which is very Orwellian. But we've put a humorous spin on it. Um, and yeah, so everything in the future is then powered by outrage, which which then was manifest in some of the Spool Towers things. But some of the things like cash for organs, limbs and things, and the pleasure pods also have background stories, but relate to how grim things have gotten. Um, and the story has sort of moved to a point now. We need to write something down a little bit better for the next stage. But the Proxygenitor is the latest edition, and the Proxygenitor is like he's a tinkerer, a mechanic, right? So he builds things, and
Right.
he's created a small army of rebels and made the Titanic walking robot dogs. So
The buggers.
that's where the Proxygenator's gambit came from, which has now led. Actually, this works out quite nicely into the Proxygenator's fabricatum. So you know we can we can have a
Yeah.
little talk about these. So the Proxygenator's fabricatum, um, this is one of the buildings from that. So you can see maybe if the camera will pick it up. Ah, Martin's got one there. So I have in my hands here the toxic refinery, and Martin's got the power substation. Um, and
These are
so
pretty
these are massive buildings. So
they are big building. I mean, these I would say with these, they're not for the light-hearted.
yes,
If you're scared about leaving your printer alone, Yeah, they come out amazingly. You actually, I was a little bit worried at first looking at the details. I was thinking, and looking at the length of the print, I was thinking, okay, this is going to be one of those. I shouldn't have worried at all. I know Neil's designs are just flawless anyway.
Yeah,
He
designed
seems
by the numbers, man. Like so, these are made hollow. So you can see in here, what we've done is made use of bridging, and everything to create the flat areas. All the walls 1.6 millimeters, and then we've added extra greebly details on the outside to jazz them all up. But effectively, you're using as little filament as possible. And most of the models in the set um, are designed to use up as much of the build volume on an Ender 3, which is kind of the standard that we design for, as possible.
I mean, the detail in them is actually really spot on.
Thanks. Appreciate
No,
that.
no, serious they are, and that's not just saying. I mean, you probably can't see, but under these grids here, you can actually see the fans. So it will print the fans up, then the grids over the top. It's the touches like that that actually make this something a bit special for your tabletop. It's it's those sort of things that actually make me think, yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Fans,
know,
vents, grills, and things like that. They're bits that I really enjoy making. Um,
yeah,
and again, those are the sorts of things where I try and push the design to the limits of what you can do on an FDM printer. Like,
yeah. I mean, the door details. I love the door details.
yeah,
Can't really see it, but the gears around the actual center of the door and things like that. It's those sort of things for me as like a table game, a tabletopper that I'm looking for because it actually pings it out and makes it that bit special.
yeah. So that's it. And once they're painted as well, because it gives you something to actually highlight. So, uh,
Exactly. Like on the sake of that door, because of that gear, I can actually ping that gear up and have a darker background behind it to actually really exaggerate it.
yes. I mean, one of the things that you're always in danger of when you try and make something that big is
Mm,
to keep the surfaces interesting.
exactly.
Because otherwise, all
Yeah.
you end up with is a nicely shaped lump of plastic.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's
the flip of that. Like, if you were to say, if you were scratch building, I've done a lot of scratch building of terrain over my time. I've built for clubs. I've built terrain for shop clubs all over the place. Um, and the difficult part with it, a lot of the time, is finding those sort of details out of plastic that you can put in there. If not, you've got to sculpt them yourself. Now that
mm,
can be
yes,
really timely when you're trying to scratch build.
yeah,
So
absolutely. And I mean, some of the things that we do now is like we've created quite a large asset pack of greeblies and things that we can use for our models, and we can use them on different areas of our model ranges to kind of retain a theme as well. So it's like with GW you have like the gothic theme, and you have the Mechanicus cogs, and you have, you know, all that stuff that you can look at and you can go, well, that's Games Workshop. Yeah, so
yeah,
we are making a whole series of assets that we can have in a library, that we can then bring across to various designs, so that, you know, people will be able to look at that and they'll go, well, that's digital taxidermy, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's
creating a
one thing.
style, creating something which ties them all in together, so that every piece isn't entirely unique.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I think the one thing I have sort of fallen for with the digital taxidermy stuff is everything's got a tie but isn't tied,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Yes.
You can work it all together, or you could play it individual. You could split it all.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You know?
So one of the interesting things that we found, like one of the bits of feedback that we had from the last Kickstarter, the Proxygenator's Gambit, um, we had obviously we try and promote our stuff in all of the different gaming groups, and obviously one of the biggest areas is Warhammer 40k. So we try and go over to them, say hi, this is what we're doing, look, this would be really cool. Necromunda really actually seems to be more suitable for a lot of our stuff.
Yeah.
But
Necromunda's quite nice because it's quite a spread game. You can basically play it on a plain area or a built up. So
absolutely.
it's got quite a mix of themes that you, if you like, are tailored to.
Absolutely. So, so yeah, one of the bits of feedback that we got from doing the Proxygenator's Gambit was somebody had commented that they wanted to see like a Gothic church on the back of the walker.
Yeah.
So that was just at the time that we were getting to one of the stretch goals. So
Cool.
we turned around and we were like, okay, well, is this something that people want? We don't know, but why not? So we held a little poll to see, and we were like, do you want what was planned, or do you want this as an option? Because we can go either way. And they said a lot of the feedback was that first of all, they wanted what was planned, and second of all, they turned around and said, well, we decided to back your thing because it was kind of not set towards any particular game. And so it was really reassuring to know that like a very large, more than half of the people that were actually backing it were backing it because it wasn't just the same generic stuff that they could get. You know,
the key. You've got something that's not out there already, which is it's a big thing. All right, we can all say, "Oh yeah, I want this," but in reality, a lot of it's already out there. You know, so finding some new things and bringing something new to the table is always more than welcome. To be fair, in my eyes, the way you've done it actually opens it up to converters. I think
yes.
from what I've printed of it, I'm like, actually, if I didn't print this top piece, there's nothing stopping me slap on a building on there and adapt it and actually turn that into something a little bit different again.
Well, absolutely, and I mean this is one of the key things as well. Is like we're producing stuff for a hobby.
Exactly.
Not that we are doing this as a hobby; it's still a business, but we are producing it for hobbyists.
Yeah.
And what that means is that we are producing kits, and like milk and a bowl, this is merely a serving suggestion. So
Right.
it's one of the interesting things. So when we brought out Spool Towers, for example, we obviously made lots of kits. So the idea was is like, you know, this kit has three levels, and it's got this level, and this level, but it's just a serving suggestion, right?
Exactly.
You can take all these levels and you can mix and match them and make whatever you like from it. Now, the interesting thing is seeing how few people are actually creating different stacks. They're creating the same stacks as were displayed in the original image. So
basically, they're replicating what you've shown them, and it's funny. I've noticed it throughout the years. People are very scared to actually sort of go down their own route and do their own thing, and I think that's one big thing on the hobby that's actually missing. The hobby is all about you showing you.
yeah, crafting and innovation. You know,
Exactly.
um,
It's all about express what you can, what you're imagining, not
yes.
what somebody else has done, and that's pretty cool. And oh, I like that.
I mean,
Go
it
out and
was very interesting to us because obviously, I mean, we were very much like, look, this is a kit. You know,
mm,
like you have to scale it yourself. We have made a robust model that can be scaled to fit different things. You have to scale it. You
yeah,
have to create the layers that you want to create. We have provided accessories for this. Go and be imaginative, you know, and
exactly.
that was something that we were hoping to inspire people to create different
Mm.
things. Interestingly enough, one of our one of the big fans that we've had, um, Mecha Madness, Mecha
Yeah,
Madness.
madness.
Yeah, he does a lot of BattleTech stuff, so it's like real small scale.
Mm.
So like one of these giant robots, they fit inside a spool.
Yeah,
Um,
so isn't it something like a similar to the old epic scale, isn't it?
yeah, effectively, yeah.
Type
It's like
20
6 or
mil.
10 millimeter scale.
Yeah.
But he's very much he's been very creative with the spool tower things.
Oh,
And he's started showing me some of his own designs that he's started to make up to fill his own spools as well, which is pretty cool.
quite cool.
So
Yeah, no,
he's
nice.
still working out the best way to do these things, but like he's coming up with some interesting plans anyway. So
No,
I,
I'll
I'm
be
looking
interested
forward
to
to
see how that goes.
seeing how those develop over time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, get on. I mean, I think you've got a scope with, well, people that are getting involved with your designs have got a big scope to play. It's pretty good what you can do with some of your stuff. I've been playing with the well, like the biolabs. I've fallen in love with, and I've gone probably a little bit over the top with that. I mean, I'm currently working on the second layer for that now, the
Yeah,
second height, which I'm hoping to get through in the next couple of months if I can get my painting on.
yes. Well,
You
that's
know,
the big thing, isn't it?
if I can get,
Now that I've said that you actually paint miniatures, you have to do that.
I've actually got to do it now.
You
God
do
damn.
actually have to do that. You can't get out of it.
No,
That's
it's
not an
it.
option.
You put me on a pedestal now, aren't
I know, I know.
you? So
I'll design
yeah,
them, son. You paint them.
yeah. um. So yeah, I'm hoping to crack through the top layer of my setup. I'm actually about a third of the way through, I think now. So it's leaving me a fair bit to do. But I've actually come up with an idea since I've been working on the latest project with you
Yeah.
that I'm going to try and incorporate into the biolabs. Dun dun dun.
Okay.
So yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah. I
Okay.
don't want to say too much
I'm
and give it away.
interested. I'm definitely interested. What Wagwan?
Yeah, well, it's yeah. I don't want to say too much and give it away before
Ooh.
I've actually attempted and played. So,
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
that's I've sort of got it in my mind with some of the new vehicles and things.
Okay.
Um,
Which vehicles
incorporate
are these?
um ones that you sent me.
Yay!
So yeah, I've got it in my head that I want to try and incorporate it, do it like a garage situation on the top layer.
Right. Okay. A place to park.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. I can't give too much away because it won't be a surprise then, will it? It might not work. I'm not going to lie. It just may not work.
That's fair
I
enough.
know.
I mean, that's the thing. It's all part of the great experiment. And
Exactly.
I suppose, speaking of great experiments, You've done a lot of experiments with building and tweaking printers, haven't you?
Yeah, probably too much.
I believe you've got one in your little outhouse there called Frankie.
Oh, Frank, no, Frankie's actually sat up in my storage unit at the moment.
Oh right,
Frank,
okay.
Frankie's a little bit too big to sit in here.
Oh really?
Yeah,
How big is Frankie?
Frankie's quite big.
Oh, okay.
take take a CR10 and basically slightly higher than the CR10 and a little bit more on steroids.
Right.
Um,
What's the build
so
volume on that thing?
he's roughly 450 by 450 by around 650, I believe.
Oh, sweet
He,
Jesus.
he's big.
That's that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, he's big. I mean, the
That puts
original
my
Frankie
five
that we built
plus.
was actually based on a CR10.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually that's a bit of a lie. It was based on a G-Tech A30 original, which is more or less the same as the original CR10 from Creality.
Right, okay.
So we took the frame of the G-Tech and we took the hotbed from the G-Tech and binned everything else. We literally just threw that away.
Right.
Then we went and got the wiring harnesses from Creality CR30, CR10. We got the Meanwell power supply from the CR10,
Right.
and then a whole host of awesomeness from everywhere you can imagine. Basically, I E3D Hotend. I had Big Tree Tech board, a whole host of goodies, if you like. And we set about and went a little bit crazy. The help of Untitled Chapter, which is a member of the Creality mod group,
Yeah.
and Simon Tilmer, very good friend of
Legend.
mine.
Legend.
Oh, he's if anybody doesn't know Simon, you might want to look him up. If you ever have any issues with firmware or um, design, even if you want functional design for things like replacement parts,
Mm.
Simon's your kiddie.
Yeah.
He is excessively screwed on.
Yeah, and a nice chap as well. Like, I needed his help to get my 5 plus Frankenstein machine to work, because it was not a good time. It was a bad time for me.
There was almost tears and a bit of crying and scratching and shouting.
Yeah, it was a bad time. But
Yeah,
he came along and he made my day. It was brilliant. It
he,
made my whole
he's a good
week,
lad.
in fact, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah, Simon's a legend.
yeah. So basically, between the three of us, we set to basically wanting to redesign what was potentially a rubbish machine. If I'm totally honest, the G-Tech are good machines in general. I'm not going to slate the G-Techs, they are good machines. The way G-Tech build them, yeah, it makes it hard. Let's say it makes it hard. They rewire the wiring systems so they're actually plugged in to a unique way to G-Tech.
Yeah.
So they'll rewire the stepper motors and the boards and everything else, if you like. So when your stepper motor dies,
Yeah.
you have to go and buy a G-Tech stepper motor,
Oh really?
unless you know how to rewire them.
Oh right. So it's not just a standard off the shelf part.
It's not a plug and play job.
That's
It,
interesting. So I mean
yeah,
that's always been one of the useful things about, because of course the reason that we have this luxury of having 3D printers available at the home user level is that it's been worked out the best way to make it just about viable.
Exactly.
One would have thought that the way to do that is to have the most
Unified
common
part.
off the shelf parts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what they've done is with their mainboard system and things like that is open source to a degree.
Mm.
So the software side is open source to a degree. There are a few other companies now making, replacement stepper motors at a bit cheaper and more accessible and that sort of thing. But originally, when I was sort of first involved, if you like, with people like G-Tech and that, they were very much you must buy this stepper motor to fit this product.
Well,
So it made
that's
it
not
very
so good.
no, it made it
Have
very
they done anything about that with some of their latest printers?
um to be honest, I'm not too sure. I know the hot ends are now totally interchangeable. I'm not too sure. In all fairness, I've not played too much with them. I have actually got an A20M multicolor printer, but I've not actually played with it too much for my sins. I've
Fair
I've
play.
not gone I've not gone too in depth in it yet, and I do
Is
plan on going
is
more
that
in
a
depth.
dual headed multicolor, or is it just a two extruders into one hot end?
Yeah, all the G-Techs you've got the A out of all the A series. So let's say the A20. The A20 is a single color, single extruder, single nozzle.
Right,
The A20M is a single head, two spool, two extruder.
right.
So it's a color mixer into one hot end.
Be careful on that retraction.
Actually, it's what the problem you get with them because they work on a Y channel system.
Yeah,
The problem you get with them is if you stop one of the channels.
yeah,
So, say you've got a red and a blue, and you want to print red. If you put 0 from the blue, you get pushback, and that's where you'll get your issue because it pushes down, but it fills this one back up. So that's where
right,
you get your clogs.
right. Okay.
So what you've got to do is you set this one at 5% and this one at 95%.
So you've
So
got a constant pressure, even if it
exactly,
ends up with that motor skipping.
it won't skip. Believe it or not, it won't skip. They're
Oh, really?
very good.
Oh,
They're
okay.
very good. But what you'll find is when you look at your print at the end, you'll turn it. It will be blue, 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 blue. Oh, touch of red. You'll get like a slight color variation on the print.
Right. Because I've not really done any multicolor printing. I did actually I
Yeah.
purchased a palette too, um,
I
which
really want to try a palette too.
uh,
I really want to play
uh,
with one, but
uh, um, so like they look amazing. Like they're a really nice looking piece of kit, and like it's really cool to take the lid off and like look at it, and like it's got all these things, and it's got channels, and the filament goes round here, and it goes through there, and it comes out here, and it's got a light that flashes, and it's all really cool, and it's in this lovely package, but
it's
damn, it
like
doesn't work.
marble run
It
for
doesn't work.
filament. Is it marble run for filament?
Yeah.
When it comes down the tubes, it looks great, but when it comes out the end, it all just sort of goes wrong.
Well, right. So I bought one not long after I got the Ender 5. Now, the Ender 5 was never really what I would, the 5 Plus was never what I would really call a working machine
Right.
until we made the mods. I mean, now it's brilliant. Um, like for example, I've just printed this out on it, And look, you've got all the super fine detail that you can't make out on the webcam, but like there's really fine details and it's totally printed it out. So it's working now really well. It's like dialed in
Nice.
really good. Um,
Finally good to see.
but so I, because the build volume is so massive, it's very easy to use like 3 kilos of filament.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing being is that even though it has a run out sensor, those are not reliable for restarting at all. So if you have to change filament and the filament run out sensor runs out, you kind of crossing your fingers to see whether or not you're actually going to wreck your print in doing it. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, I want a way to splice filament together. And I was having a little look about, trying to find a solution to this, and there wasn't great solutions, and the palette came up, and I was like, okay, palette 2, this seems to be the answer. I can load in like 4 different roles, and then they can go and do their thing. And what I found, because I wasn't even trying to use it at that point for multicolour printing, so I wasn't trying to dial it in to do lots of different colours. It was just literally one after the other after the other. And the only it it just didn't work. Like so it either wouldn't be. I did try with it, and it probably needed more dialing in than I was willing to do. But I found that first of all, quite often it wouldn't feed out at the same rate as the printer needed it, so that ended up causing problems. Which that'd be fairly easy to do.
Yeah.
Then the other thing was like I was finding it gets to the end of the roll, and of course the roll always has that little hook on the end,
That thing.
which that ain't no good.
Nope.
So it's like just everything is against it. And I tried to get into the filament with the nips and like cut out as much as possible. But even if you've got that tiny crook, there's no space there's no tolerance in there at all.
Yeah.
And the final nail in the coffin for me was the fact that spare parts come from Canada,
Which is horrendous.
so you needed these, right? These, which are splice tubes,
Yeah.
right? Little teeny tiny bits of PTFE. Right? You get 5 of them for like 25 quid. So like 5 quid a pop. They'll do, what was it, like 1,500 splices?
Right.
Or it was either, or it might have been 500, I don't know. And then you need to replace them, but it was £90 shipping. So I was like, Amazon, this is no good.
Yeah,
Take this back.
I actually I've tried a few things that have come from Canada in the past, and luckily they were sent to me because I mean these weren't cheap products. I mean we're talking a few £100 products per part.
Mm.
And then I was still getting walloped with like 130, £140 import fees.
What is it that makes the shipping that much from Canada?
Yeah, the import taxes and the shipping rates were huge. I mean,
it's nuts. Like, so I've bought stuff from all over the world, as I'm sure we all have, and it very much seems that like if it comes from Canada, shipping is insane.
I don't know if AVK or my friend Andrew's in the stream at all, but I've just sent him a care package. They can't get British sweets in Canada. There's a list of British sweets they cannot get.
Right.
My wife is obsessed with certain sweets from Canada that we can't get here.
Nice.
We just done a care package and to send to Canada. It cost us about 20 quid in sweets. We've just shipped it. It cost me £40 to ship the freaking thing. It's like 2 kilo. Come on.
Yeah. Although you can ship to America for like 20-25 quid.
Exactly. I mean, it's across their border. Come on.
I don't understand. I just don't
Maybe next time
understand.
I'll tip it to a friend in America and then get him to tie it to like a moose or something and send it back to Canada, and we'll see if that works out. It should be a little bit cheaper that way.
An African swallow.
Yeah, or raccoons or something.
Yeah.
We'll find a random creature that we can harness.
Potato cannon.
Pigeon.
Yeah,
Maybe
we'll do it. We'll ship it by catapult.
Yeah, we should have got a carrier pigeon. We get loads of pigeons around here. We should have just tied it to one of them.
Yeah,
I'm sure it would have got there eventually.
That would work. That would definitely work. So
maybe one day.
yeah.
But no, I mean, for me, but at the moment, for me, the community is absolutely buzzing. We've got so many cool products out, so many new companies coming up. I'm currently talking with Fucus. I don't know if you've heard of Fucus.
Tell us about them. I won't say their name because I'll probably Fucus it up.
Fucus it up. Well, currently they're very big in the American market. They've done their release with the American market and parts of Europe so far. UK's not been so lucky because obviously with the COVID and everything else we've dealt with, import's been a bit awkward at the second.
Yep.
But that is their next stage, is going to be hitting UK. Now, they've developed a new printer, FDM printer, like most people are pretty common with. Differences is that the specs they've used on it, the actual hardware they've used inside those printers is actually really high quality.
Right.
Really high quality. They've built on this system, this metal frame system, whereas normally you bolt up through the frame to your gantry, to your X rails and everything, your Z rails. Well, they've come up with bolting on the sides. So when the printer's not in use, you simply take out 2 of the bolts and the whole gantry folds down for storage.
Folds or lifts out?
No, folds. You literally fold the gantry down so it becomes a flat, storable printer.
Oh, right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So,
I mean, who has a printer that's not in use, though? That's the question.
Well, I'm probably guilty. I currently have too many, so I have to put them in my storage unit.
Fair play.
So if they folded, I could probably stack them here.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think the idea behind it, or the way they've marketed it, is for transportation use. Because it's the way they've done it, you can actually do a handle system. So you can carry it to your friend's house, set it up, and off you go.
Yep.
And the setup on it, because it is auto bed leveling and everything else, is so simple. It's 2 bolts in the side, auto bed level, local filament, off it goes.
Okay. Auto bed level. Right.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Because I've seen it mean a multitude of things, and very few of them are what I would have thought auto bed leveling means.
Auto bed leveling isn't quite what most people are thinking, like you say.
Yeah. Turn it on, press auto bed level, bed is level. No.
Not quite. You've still got a part of manual in there. To a degree.
Yes.
There's always going to be a bit of manual, unless you look at a fully immersed mesh bed leveling system. You're not going to get.
there's a printer that actually we'd both like to talk about in a minute,
Yeah.
which on said video, which we may play, it has a feature which looks like what I would describe as auto bed leveling. Now
You
I
are
want to
correct.
know more about
They have
this.
got, as far as I'm aware, they have got a full
We'll
mesh
get to that in a
leveling
minute.
system.
We'll get to that in a minute. I want to know what this thing of auto bed
Right.
leveling is, but we'll
So
get to that in a minute.
we will get to that.
Yeah,
We will
yeah,
get.
yeah, yeah.
Fuku's, as far as I know, is running on a very similar to a BL Touch, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So a BL Touch system, I believe, that you ask it to bed level, and it will do so many points on the bed, and off it will go. It will vary the head to those contours in the bed.
Right. So it's kind of a mesh leveling thing.
Kind of, yeah. As far as I'm aware, at the moment, it is somewhat of a mesh leveling system. Like I say, I've not been
Because
not been lucky enough
when
yet because
I first started with 3D printing and people were talking about auto bed leveling, right?
yeah,
I thought you know, people were saying about auto bed leveling kits and stuff like that, and it was like I thought, right, so you've got little motors on the things that will raise and lower the bed, and
and
it
uphill.
it levels it all out, and you get a reading, and then bed is level, right? But
Yeah,
what I was then finding is you press auto bed leveling, and it just moves it to that point,
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
go, oh, okay, and twist the thing, and then it moves it to the next point, and then
yeah.
it moves it to the next point.
What you're talking about is basically the auto movement on the head
Yeah,
to save you. Creality Enders are the prime suspect for it. When they first, or their printers when they come out, they didn't have any leveling feature
right.
as such. You had to move the head to point one, point two. See what I mean? And run your paper to level it. People like Big Tree Tech and everybody else sort of jumped on the bandwagon and made it so what they classed as auto bed leveling, it should have actually been auto movement
Yes.
leveling.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, it was just like put it in the corner.
yeah, exactly
Yeah,
that. It moved to the corner and you could do the work.
yeah. We could call it
Whereas,
pick. Put it in the corner. That's it.
yeah, it's in the corner. Help me out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
now we're moving more into an era where they're trying to consolidate it into a complete leveling system. So more and more of the companies are producing printers now with BL touch systems built in as standard.
Have you ever used a Prusa?
A Prusa,
Yeah.
yeah, Prusas are very. They look very basic. They look very basic, but they actually print on point.
Right. Because
They
like one of the things, especially like when we're talking a couple of years ago when I got my first printer. So I've been into the concepts and the tech behind 3D printing for like, you know, well over a decade. You know, I was following development, sort of learning stuff about it. I only
yeah.
got my first printer what was it, 2.5 years ago, something like that.
So you
And
were about the time ANET and ANET and Prusa were all sort of the top players then.
that's exactly it. And the Ender 3, of course, was the budget choice. And then everybody was like, well, you know, so they buy an Ender. It was like the typical thing of like buy a Renault 5 and make it as powerful as a BMW, right? Or go and buy a Prusa and print like a pro. Now, my big question is if you've used a Prusa and you've used the Ender products, right?
Mhm.
How much of a difference did that 4 times the cost actually make?
Um, the Prusas are very, very good printers, if I'm honest.
Yes, but
They are very.
are they 4 times an ender good?
To me, well, to me, no, no. In all honesty, no.
Because this
Um,
was the thing, right? So when I started, right, I had the Ender 3 Pro, right? I did the ducted heat thing. I got a glass bed, and I done belt tensioners. And that was basically my only mods, right? And I was printing with the cheapest filament that I could find on eBay, which prior to the unspecified virus of an unknown location, um, prior to then, um, it was about what, £6 a roll, £6 a kilo. I was buying it for, and
is
the
about right.
results that I was getting, so I dial it in. I do all the tests. I dial it in. The results that I was getting was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's things with the cruiser quality is actually really good, really good. I mean, the printer itself, the quality on the printer is lovely,
Mm.
stunning, and the print quality it produces, awesome.
What do you have to print for that print quality to show through?
Um, well, the way I look at it is the finer details you can produce or you can find on a model.
Yes.
That is the biggest hiccup with an FDM printer, isn't it? Generally, if you've got fine, real detailed parts on your model, try to print them. That's where it's going to fail.
Mm.
You're going to either lose the detail or it's going to mess up on, say, a bridge or an overhang.
But how much of
What I
that
found,
is down to the actual model itself as opposed to the printer?
well, it's hit and miss. No, no, no. What I find is I'll print it, and if it's super detailed and the printer's not produced it, that's when I go at looking at why hasn't the printer managed to do that.
Right.
Not the model's wrong. I look at the printer first. So I will run 2 or 3 tests on that one model.
Mm.
So for me at the moment, I've got a original Ender 3 setup, an Ender 3 Pro, and both are quite highly modified.
Yep.
One's running on a Bowden system and one on a direct drive system. And the reason I do both is because I can compare the two. So what I'll do is I will run on my stand. It's generally on the standard one that I will put a more detailed print through.
Yep.
The original Ender. If it fails on that, I will then go to my Ender 3 Pro, which has got direct drive, BTT board,
Oh yeah,
screen.
you just spaffed the whole setup into that.
Oh, it's proper.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's not an Ender 3 Pro anymore.
it's not an Ender 3, to be honest. It's more Big Tree Tech.
Yeah, well, that's your Renault 5 BMW, isn't it?
A Renault 5 bigged up my Nova job,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then
Renault
I'll
5
run
Bazwagon.
exactly that. So I'll run it again in there, and if it fails again in the same places, that's when I'll start looking at the model itself. Is there an issue, or is there an actual broken down part in the model?
Yeah.
If I still can't find that, I'll look at tweaking my settings to see if I can alter the settings of the printer to pull out that definition.
Right, okay. Yeah. So I mean,
So
from a design perspective, all the models that I create, I put them into Cura, I slice them up, and then I'm always looking at them. So mostly, so if I take this as an example, so we'll put it on the print bed, and I'll
yeah,
be looking at the model from this sort of angle.
upside down.
And what you're looking for is overhangs. You're looking for downward points.
Yeah,
You're looking for anything where you can see more than one wall line.
yeah.
Um, Now, there's always exceptions to the rule.
Always.
And
Always.
when you start designing and test printing various things, you will learn what those exceptions are. And so you can get away with a much steeper overhang on cylinders.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
it has to go all the way round the cylinder. You can't
Yeah.
have a change of direction. Otherwise, you start getting those loops in unsupported areas. But
Yeah.
if it's constantly pulling the filament back onto the main body, you can get away with a hell of a lot in your design in overhang terms.
On the filament rather than sort of stopping going back and hooking itself.
It's about changes in velocity. So if it changes its direction as it's extruding and it's not supported, you'll get that loop.
You get that raise or that lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite lucky with the way I'm set up. I am generally quite lucky. The way I've planned my setup, if you like, I can swap out very quickly. So if I've got one fail up the top, within minutes, I'm already running on the other printer to test it on the direct drive or vice versa. So the way I went around planning my setup with my enclosure was purely to sort of eliminate any lost time between prints.
Yep.
To be able to feed filament from one compartment to both printers. That was a big key for me because I'm semi sort of restricted in space where I am at the moment.
Yeah. Well,
there
you go.
Yeah, yeah. I needed to confine things and keep it contained, so it fed to both printers in one complete unit that kept draft out, kept it warm. So I basically come up with. Most people have seen the LAC system. I took the standard LAC system and bolted a second on.
Yep.
Which feeds down through. So I put a rod through the center they're basically like wardrobe hangers for curtain rails.
Yeah. And that helps keep them dry as well, does it?
Yeah, well, this is pretty well sealed. I mean, it's not at the minute. I've got a gap in there. But I keep my heat dryer in there.
Well, one would have thought if you've got them sealed, if you've got a hole coming up from the bottom, then the heat from the bottom printer will keep them dry as well.
Exactly that. So basically, then I set up my next printer, and I needed obviously a place for that. So I got another LAC system on top.
Right. Yeah.
So what I done then was I fed through here. I don't know if you can see. There's a tube that comes down. I run my Bowden direct off the back of my extruder, straight through to this reel here.
Yep.
So basically, that way it keeps all my filaments contained and dry in one compartment. It's fed through Bowden up into the top machine, or fed through Bowden direct down into my Pro.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
So it's straight up nice and easy to feed.
If I don't know if you can see on that one.
Yeah, I got
So
you.
I'm running for a smart sensor on that one.
Yep.
From the smart sensor down to the direct drive.
Yep.
And that way it's all confined, kept dry.
Yep.
Pretty sort of easy to sort of manage, really. I open the door, hold in the extruder, roll my filament back out, or feed it back down through.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting actually. When I went to direct drive on the 5 Plus, and I just hung the spool hanger on the wall. I was actually finding, especially with spools that are like they're new spools, that the movement of the head was causing it to pull bits off of there, loop around, and it
Yeah.
would tug the
The
filament
whole
reel
time.
off the spool holder. There was a few times that you wake up during the night to a bang because the spool holder, it's caught, it's pulled the head closer, and then it's pulled the spool holder off of the spool. I'm like, what? How has it even done that?
Well, that's why I went through this system, because the rod that holds my spools actually goes through an eye, if you like.
Hmm.
So no matter how much that tugs, it cannot pull it off the pole, if you like.
Yep.
So I've been relatively lucky. I've had one that was a mess that kept knotting, but generally what happens, because it's stuck on that pole, it will snap the filament rather than create a bird nest, if you like.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
So yeah, because that's fixed so well, it can't actually run away. It's just got to snap. It can't do much else.
Yeah. I mean,
So yeah,
all it's going to do is that ends your print basically.
that's it. Yeah, it's not going to cause an absolute mayhem in my print house, if you like. So yeah, that's the reason I went down that route with the enclosures, as well as obviously because I'm using so many different filaments like foreigns and everything else. It gives me the option to sort of be enclosed. I'm not getting drafts in there, so
Yeah,
I've got
you
no
have to control your variables. That
exactly
way, it's one less thing to be like, okay, why didn't this work?
exactly that. And I mean, as you know, up where you are, UK, we get some shocking weather.
What are you
Let's be
talking
honest.
about? It's always great over here. It's
Oh
always
right, is
great
it?
weather.
Oh
It's
yes,
like
of course it is. Sorry.
it's like 50 degrees all the time and sunny.
Oh well, yeah. I was sunbathing earlier, funnily enough, in the rain. I mean sun.
What was it?
Yeah,
Bad food, worse weather, Mary Poppins.
something along those lines. Yeah, yeah. So no, we have had really crap winter down here this year. It's been like a
Yeah, have
lot
you
of
been
moisture in
flooded
the
out
air.
this year?
Hey,
Have you been flooded this year?
luckily, no. Where I am, I'm just outside a flood zone. But on the way to work, I have been flooded a couple of times.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, because
So yeah,
that's the most thing I know about the West Country. Really, is that it's always underwater.
pretty much we're like frogs down here.
Yeah.
We
So
just
submariners.
yeah, we were all born on boats and things. We're a little bit strange,
Yeah,
but no, I mean we've had an excessive amount of moisture down here this year, so controlling that for me has been key. Because I've generally got open around 5 to 10 rolls a week. I've
right,
got generally open.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
so
How many
hence the
kilos of filament do you go through in an average week?
this is a good question.
I'm hoping so.
All depends on how many things you send me. I can go from 2 kilo to
Hey, I'll stop sending them when you stop being interested.
uh, yeah, I'm gonna end up with a lot of plastic. I might end up kicked out. I can go from 2 kilo to anywhere up to sort of 20 kilo a week,
20
depending.
kilos, Jesus.
I've gone up to 20 kilo before. Yeah, that was a bit ridiculous, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a bit mad. That's a bit
It's
mad. We've been going through about 15 kilos a month
yeah,
for
yeah.
the last like 4 months.
I'd say on average, I'm usually doing about probably around 2 kilo a week at the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment, that might change pretty soon, to be honest. We shall see. I've got a few things in the pipeline that might change that. Who knows? I'm hoping to keep around that sort of level at the minute, but I do have probably about 5 kilos inbound from different companies that I need to be running. So that's going to obviously up the amount I go through.
Yeah, he's going to be a print farmer, I suppose. I'm gonna grow as my filament. You just start planting some in the back garden and see what happens. See if you get little spring filament bulbs.
Yeah, that's what you do. The end. See, everybody is all moaning about their offcuts. What do I do with this end of filament that's left over?
Plant them.
Oh, of course you do. You plant them.
Yeah.
How else are you going to grow a filament tree?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
I mean, like, you know, and then you spin them like wool. That's how it works.
I've just been putting them on the dog, letting them run round, and you know, just hope they put it on the spool for you.
Yeah, well, exactly. Or you can get a whole bunch of the digital taxidermy models that use your filament ends to stick them together. All right.
Yes, this is another point. I got a.
Have you used the 3D printing pens?
I did. I got a 3D printing pen a little while back, and I've been using that to seam joint and things.
Right.
And it's actually really strong.
I bought a cheap old one and I wasn't impressed, so it went. So I need a recommendation or something, because for the most part I look at them and they look cheap and useless.
Yeah, I've got a G-Tech one. There's one feature on it I don't like particularly.
Right.
And that's the unloading of filament.
Okay.
You have to double click the trigger and it will only release so much. So you've got to keep double triggering.
Yeah.
So it takes forever to release the filament.
Right, okay.
No,
just pull it out, mate.
You can't. I've tried that. It's too strong. I've heard that Sunlu do one that's very similar.
Right.
And I'm not sure if it's got the same feature on releasing.
So what's the sort of price point on those ones then? Because like the one that I bought was a no brand whatever for about a tenner on eBay. Hence the reason it was super cheap and never really got on with it. What was the price point on an all right one?
I think when it came out, it was 27. I think
it's not the end of the world.
So it's not. I think they're down to about £20 to £25 now, on average. Is it worth it? Yeah, to be honest. Yeah, they're pretty good to have. Like I say, I've used it for models to put together. I've actually snapped a model because I was a bit clumsy on that day and managed to break it. Use that to put it back together, and it's strong.
So you can use them to glue them back together.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting that it basically what you do. The way I've done it is I almost put a layer on and forge the two together while it's still hot.
Yeah. It's like going to be like welding, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I will do a seam around the outside.
Yeah.
But I generally push the nozzle in a little bit further. So I actually push against it and then drag the filament.
Yeah.
So it actually gives you a surface to sand if you need to. So yeah, you can actually forge things back together with them, which is pretty handy.
Yeah, it's just like welding.
Yeah, it's exactly like plastic welding. It is plastic welding.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I find it, you know, if I've got like a glue or anything that's not always great on PLA, you find some sort of objects you try and glue just don't like to glue together with PLA. It's
the trick is with all of that is file and score both surfaces. So the way I always do it is with a craft knife, and you do V cuts and cross hatch in both
Yeah.
directions, and then file it, and then glue it, and bit of super glue.
A bonding area to actually attach.
Sorry,
You're giving it a bonding area to actually attach.
increasing our surface area, because the thing is when you extrude filament, of course it's been melted, it is totally smooth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It
yeah.
is 100% smooth, and there is no key there for any glue to sit in. So
Yeah,
you have to score it. You have to give it some sort of hook for the adhesive to bond to.
exactly. Yeah, to bite on. But there's been certain cases where um I've struggled. I've even, like you say, you've scored it, and I've done all sorts, and for some reason the glue just doesn't want to play ball.
Hmm.
So I've ended up actually using the pen.
Oh, we seem to have some difficulty in the stream at the moment. The video keeps sort of stalling, but
Yeah.
we'll try and resolve these technical difficulties. We'll carry on now anyway. Um, so yeah, okay. So I mean that covers 3D pens quite. Have you tried the resin 3D pens?
I've not tried a resin 3D pen yet. That's
Yeah,
something I would like to try for sure.
I mean they're interesting. But
Mm.
again, I think potentially a little bit more useless than normal PLA ones, to be fair. So
More useless than chocolate kettles, and that's for sure.
yeah. So should we have a little chat, because we were talking about the auto bed leveling.
Yes,
We
we
were
were.
we were talking about auto bed leveling. Um,
Yeah. Well,
now,
we sort of skimmed across something that's piqued both of our interest, I believe.
yeah. So
Yeah.
let me see if I can bring up a little thing. So first of all, well, actually, you'll have to send me a link, because I'm woefully underprepared. Um, so we'll try and make this work. But yeah, auto bed level. So I mean, you can see behind me, here, um, the Creality Cr30, which is the belt printer, which I've got during their Kickstarter, because you've got to live on the edge, all of the latest technology which comes out of the shop and is guaranteed to work 100% all the time, first time, every time. Um, which, to be fair, I mean, it prints kind of good. I mean, well, it prints pretty good.
Print
The
sort of as it should
the issue, and this is the issue for me, and the issue that's actually going to cause me to sell the printer, because it makes it a lot less useful to me than it needs to be. However, it's a good printer. Don't get me wrong. It's reliable. It seems to just chug along quite happily, um, and produce and produce. So I don't know what's going on there. Um, it
be.
seems to chug along quite happily and produce and produce, and it will work and work and work. However, we have designed our models to be support free, and we have designed our models to be support free in the world of printers as they stand. Now,
Now,
when you change the orientation of the axis like that, yes, it allows you to do some interesting things without supports. However, your support-free models end up having to be entirely retuned to suit the thing.
mill.
Otherwise, you're angling it on a support structure. So to print without supports, you need to support it on a support structure, which kind of defeats the object a little bit.
All this printing becomes supported.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's not going to be ideal for a lot of the things that we need to produce. So the unfortunate thing is of course we spent pretty much the budget for experimental printers on that, and recently there has been another printer which has come to market that I saw just before it came to Kickstarter, and I was like, ooh, that looks really interesting. Oh, I spent my money on a CR30. And it's an Idex printer, and Idex stands for Independent Dual Extruder. Independent Dual Extruder? Yeah.
Independent.
Yeah. So what that means is you've got two extruders, one rail, right? So you can either print two colors, so it'll come along and do that, and then go away, and then it'll come along and do that, and then go away. Or you can print two models at the same time, like, or you can print two models in mirror to each other at the same time.
So,
like, there's so much you can do, and it looks.
You can print his left foot and his right foot at the same time.
Yes, from the same file.
Yes.
And it looks bloody amazing, and I kind of wish I hadn't bought the CR30, and I kind of wish that I had instead gone for this one, because it looks kind of a good price. And you sent me a link to this, so I'm going to see if I can bring it up for the viewers. So let me see what I can do.
I'm going to step away 1 minute, Neil.
Yep.
While you show this, and I will be back in 2 seconds. All right?
Yeah, cool. No worries. Well, first of all, I've got to see if I can actually do it. So
Make sure you get it going first.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. So let's see what happens if we do that, and we need to. What we got? I want to just open that in a. So, oh, come on.
You can do it.
Yeah, I can.
Yay.
You can do it, Nikki.
Rock solid.
Okay, so we've got that. Now, if I go to here and I go to here, let's just close all of these other things. Because we don't want to see those.
This power grid comes back on.
Woohoo! Okay, cool. Yeah. So we're kind of stuck with we're kind of stuck with that size on the video. So hopefully you can make that out.
Enhanced smart features.
I will be back with you in 2 seconds.
Advanced applications
No worries.
and maximum productivity. Introducing Jade Labo J1, designed and priced for everyday makers. With an independent dual extruder system, Jade Labo J1 offers multiple modes, redefining productivity and possibility. In duplication mode, you can print twice as many parts compared with a regular single extruder 3D printer. Double productivity without extra cost. In mirror mode, you can print a mirrored copy of a 3D model at the same time. Cut your wait time in half without sacrificing print quality. In support mode, you can use a secondary material as a support to print complex objects. Support removal is incredibly easy and unlike anything you've experienced before. You can also save on premium materials by printing supports with a cheaper material. Imagine combining a stiff material with a flexible one. In multi-material mode, you can achieve multiple properties or colors in one single print. J1 not only increases the utility of your prints, but also supports a wide range of materials, such as PC for high stiffness, TPU for rubber-like elasticity, and many more. To achieve better print quality, J1 uses a combination of direct drive and dual drive setup, offering a highly responsive extrusion system. It incorporates easy-to-replace hot ends and supports nozzles in various diameters. Print removal is easy with the PEI surface. The build plate is reliably flat, durable, and it provides excellent adhesion. If you want to print with high-temperature materials, then you should choose the enclosed version, which also provides a more stable and even quieter environment. From electronics manufacturing and components.
So, what we seem to have there in that video is a printer which takes literally the best of things in the literally the best of everything that people would want to see in a 3D printer and combines it in a single unit. So what we seem to get here is you have quite a wide bed, although it doesn't look incredibly deep. Let's see if we can get a bit of information here on the bed size. So it looks in one dimension about the same size as an Ender 3, but it seems wider. Now, if we look here, it seems to suggest that you have this more automatic bed leveling feature, which looks pretty amazing. It has the dual extruders, which means you can print multi-materials, means you can print multiple parts, mirrored parts, all kinds of things like that. There are two versions, so you have the open version and the version in a cabinet. But it also seems that you get a glass bed with a PEI covering, so bed adhesion would be not a problem as well. Also, it's direct drive out of the box, and I would assume have a look. I would assume it comes shipping with a silent board. I can't confirm that just from what I can see here.
As far as I'm aware, it is pretty much. As far as I'm aware, it is a silent board.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it basically has everything.
I believe on their Kickstarter you had two choices, or there is two choices on their Kickstarter, whether you have it enclosed or or unenclosed.
Yes, you can pay extra for an enclosed version. So here we go. Build volume is 320 by 210 by 200. So you get less height than an Ender 3. You get slightly less depth than an Ender 3, but you get 1.5 times the width of an Ender 3.
We've also basically the Jerobo group is actually on Facebook, is actually a really active group at present, and they're actually taking feedback from their backers and individuals like ourselves. Now, there's been a bit of a chat going on at the moment on where the screen is positioned, because at present the screen is inside the enclosure.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah. So I
want it on the top. I want it on the top, on the outside.
It needs to be on the outside.
Yeah, I want it on the top. I want it on the top, and I want the USB to be
over there.
What have they got for the card? What have they got for the memory card?
Well, basically, what's happened at the moment with as the community, they've brought it to the community on Facebook, and there's been for the last 2 weeks a big discussion on screen positioning and how everybody in the community wants it. Now, some have said, "Look, I'm fine with it being on the inside," purely because if they're not buying the enclosure, it doesn't matter. So what's happened now is there's been a lot of discussions, and they're talking about having the screen on the outside of the enclosure. So they
Yep.
listened to what everybody said, and they're currently ironing out screen position.
Right.
So at present,
So that's another plus point, is it's being developed to be something that people actually want.
exactly.
God damn it, I wish I hadn't spent my money on the CR30.
Jade Lobo, I've been in communication with Jade Wu herself for a while now, and she's a fantastically clever woman. She really is. My hat is off to her. She is very attentive to what people are saying, and she's listening, which that isn't heard of by many producers anymore.
No,
Generally,
it really isn't. Interestingly enough, just as a quick tangent on that exact same thing, I have been using Medium for VR sculpting, and I recently stumbled across a program called Codon for VR sculpting, and it's still in development. And I bought it and I tried it, and it's not quite there, but damn, it looks like it's gonna have all those features. And I started chatting to some of the developers, and like they are on board with taking on ideas. They are on board with listening to feedback and everything. And I love it when a company listens to feedback, because it creates a better product.
I mean, I'm in a lucky position in a way, because I am in so many different points in the 3D producing and community world.
Well, you're buried in like a tick, aren't you?
Yeah, I am pretty deep in there, if I'm honest. But I've worked hard to be that way, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'm kind of lucky because I do communicate with a lot of the producers and manage to get onto these talks where if I notice something that really isn't clever, I can say, "Look, I think you need to address this. This needs to be moved, or this needs to be this.
This could make you money if you do this."
But unfortunately for the majority, because there's a lot of members of this community that are so savvy and so clever with design and what works, they get overlooked. They're not heard, if you like.
Right, yeah.
But now I think, especially now with Jade Labo doing things the way she's doing things, actually asking the community,
I mean, it's very interesting because, like, to look at that machine, right, in comparison to something that Creality, now, I mean, you look behind me, they're all Creality machines, right?
Yeah.
And I will still recommend the Ender 3 as a machine that people should buy if they're starting out. But that has the look of something that people would buy as a primo production machine. Now, those usually, well, in the past would have a price tag of about what, 3,000
plus,
£3,500. Admittedly, at this point in the Kickstarter, we are now looking at, what's that? I mean, that's only 550 quid.
Yeah. Half the price almost.
Hang on. Wait, what? That's only 550 quid.
It's
What?
roughly half the price of a print mill.
Well, it's the same price as an Ender 5 plus.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, the nice thing is, because they're a young company, if you like, and they've taken addressment from the community on what to do and what we want, as in technology. They have all the way through all through different steps. They've given back to their backers, which is something else that I'm really drawn to with Jade.
Yeah.
Originally, you were going to have to pay the import. If you were a backer originally, you would have had to have paid the import on release. There was a bit of an uproar. People were like, Jesus Christ, that puts the price up by an extra 80 quid or whatever. Jade has actually now gone out and said, any person who backs this printer, we will import it to you and pay fees.
What? I want one.
Yeah, I want one too.
I want one of these.
I so want one. I am almost willing to sell my cat.
I mean, I will sell my CR30.
I'll sell your CR30 too.
I will sell my CR30 and buy one of these. Anybody want to buy a CR30? Collection only. Collection only. It's bloody heavy.
Yeah, you must carry it away.
Please do. At the moment, I'm not using it. I prepped it ready for somebody to collect, but I need somebody to collect it. But that's another story. I want one of these.
The final stages.
Yeah, I want one of these because it will print in the orientations that we design for.
Exactly.
It's not going to take any special messing about to make it work, and it gives you lots of advantages.
I think if we're honest, the only thing you're going to have to sort of learn over what you already know is how to operate both heads, which really isn't that difficult. They're a very clever system now, and what they've done with the software is it generally has mirror mode, or it has duplicate mode.
Yeah.
So you basically, all you do is tick that box, and
I
will
would basically say if that isn't a thing, then they've failed in their design. Like if it comes out and it's not very easy to just go slice a model and press a button to make two, then they've screwed up somewhere.
No, I mean with this, it is super easy. I mean the hardest thing with it, which is the same with any multicolor or multi-spool printer, should I say, is you have to select the colors on a single print.
Yeah, of course. But like you're gonna have to do that anyway. Like you literally you have to select areas on the model, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, like,
do they use a proprietary slicer? Do you know?
I think they have a proprietary slicer, and I believe they might have a Cura plugin. I would have to look into it. I can't 100% tell you it's got a Cura plugin, but I believe they were working on a Cura plugin where you could drop your slice into Cura. As long as you set it up to that machine, you could actually work in Idex on it.
Jesus. Yeah. I wish I hadn't bought the CR30.
I know. I think if I was in more of a position, I would have backed that in a heartbeat. I really would have. I would have been all over that yesterday.
Yeah, like I say, I was following it from before the Kickstarter, and then the Kickstarter come out, and I checked the early bird, and the CR30 had just arrived, and I was like, well, I've already kind of spent my printer money for the next 6 months. I can't go and buy another experimental printer. That would just start looking bad. Also, where would I put it?
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, I was devastated.
Oh, another bonus for the CR30 actually. It's dead silent. It's really quiet. Like the CR30 is a really quiet machine.
Quite surprising considering that belt. You would think it would be causing some form of noise.
No, totally quiet. But it's a Core XY. It's a Core XY, not a Cartesian. So,
I mean, the thing is, on most your general FDM printers is actually that Z stepper that's making the noise. If you look at most of the silent, what they class as silent printers now, what they do is they put a 2208 or a 2209 in the X and Y.
Yep.
But they leave the Z.
Right.
So that's why you get that noise in that Z. That zzz, 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 zzz.
Right. Okay.
If you swap that and put a 2208 or a 2209 in its place.
Yeah, this comes with a TMC 2209. So.
2209, yeah, because they're a silent but a high response stepper. So most of them they skimp out and they put a crappy old school 5402, I think it is, or something like that.
Yeah, just noisy as hell.
Noisy as hell.
Ooh,
in the
ooh,
yeah.
Hang on, I've got a thing. If you haven't seen these, yeah, carry on talking about the Idex. I've got a thing.
So yeah, your basics with the Idex is it is running on silent stepper drivers. So you are literally going to get silent printing with the dual head. You know, I've been working, I've been talking with Jay since before the Kickstarter went live. So I was talking with her a long while ago. So I've been following this one really close.
Okay.
And out of all the Idexes and all the printers, because I mean you've got JG Maker has just brought out an Idex. You've got there's quite a few on the market right at the moment.
I mean, to be fair, this is the main one I know about because their promotion has been it's been targeted to me at least.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
So anyway, brief interlude. This is like what a 4028 sounds like.
God, yeah.
Ready?
Who else can resemble this one? Who knows this sound? It's not off yet.
There you go.
That is how my first printer used to sound.
Yeah. When I put for me, my neighbour had a 3D printer and he put a silent board in it and he turned around and said it was really that quiet because you hear about people putting silent boards in things and you're like, nah, I don't believe it. And I went round and I was like,
well, my ender has been printing the entire way through this stream, and that's running on a silent board. The original one, you would have heard it on the stream. Quite heavy.
Yeah.
They do definitely work, and that's all down to the stepper motors that are being used.
Absolutely.
Stepper drivers, should I say, not motors.
I put the same silent board into the Ender 5 Plus as I put into the Ender 3, and it's not as quiet as I hoped.
What is it? The E3 V2?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got an E3 V2 in my standard, and I went for an E3 V1 UART in my Pro.
Right.
Which I added 2209 steppers to.
Yeah.
It's a total different kettle of fish. Running on that UART, it's a total different animal.
So should I change the stepper motors on that thing then?
If you've got the V2 E3, they're actually soldered plate steppers, aren't they? your fixed steppers on that.
The stepper's a stepper, right?
No.
Yeah, it is. Stepper's a
Nearly.
stepper.
Uh,
Hold that thought. I need to take a little comfort break. So if you can entertain people with stories of stepper motors, that would be great.
stories of steppers. No, basically what you have, people, if some of you are not aware of what you've got inside, you have a standard stepper, which, or what should I say, on the E3s, a lot of them are actually a soldered stepper, which you cannot replace. So you cannot take it out and swap it for another one. It's actually built in. When you go up to things like the UART boards and things like that, you can actually swap your steppers out. So you can go from a 2208 to a 2209. They're fully customizable to interchange and do what you want to do with it, rather than being stuck to what is done in factory. So you can actually alter your sound, the speeds, and all sorts. It will refine your board a lot more than having the standard steppers in there. So at the moment, I'm running on UART with 2209s in there, and it's pretty quiet.
Nice.
Pretty quiet.
And he's back.
Hello.
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 So yeah, no,
But
if
yes,
you've got
the CR30 dead silent.
yeah,
Even the fans.
No,
Even
that's
with
good.
the fans.
Is that-
Admittedly,
that's-
probably after a month of usage, those fans are going to rattle like crazy because,
Yeah.
dust.
it'll be the nylon bearing job, won't it? It'll be the old, I would imagine. But then, to be honest, with 90% of the printers you're going to get, majority of them are going to be the same stock fans.
But yeah, off the shelf parts are cheaper.
Yeah, you're not going to, well, unless it's a full top end hybrid printer, it's very rare you're going to get a ball bearing fan in there.
This is true. This is true.
It's very rare.
But then this is where you upgrade to like Noctuas or something,
Exactly. And to be fair, a lot of people are saying Noctua's the way and this, that, and the other. Everybody's ranting about Noctuas. In my honest opinion, Noctuas aren't as great as what people are making out.
No,
Their
they're just
airflow-
yeah, but they're to vacuum cleaners what Hoover is,
Exactly. They're good. Don't get me wrong. They are. For why people are fitting them, they are pretty good because they are silent fans.
Well, yeah.
The problem I have with them is they are silent fans that don't actually force as much air.
Yes.
So you're
Yeah, but that's
potentially
why they're
working-
bigger.
Exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
funnel the same volume of air at a lower rate, and it makes it quieter with better bearings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
But
know.
the problem you've got there is because you're putting that extra size fan on there,
More
you then
weight,
need a
bigger
housing,
size, different
more
duct.
weight.
Yeah.
Come on.
But I mean, once you go into modificating anything, you just end up in that situation where it's like, right, I've changed one thing, so I'm going to change 5 things.
I'm going to do 438 things to do the same thing I was getting out of a slightly noisier fan.
Yeah.
Basically.
When you're then in the situation where we are at the moment, where I've got printers running behind me, like that,
I've got 10 printers.
that would be worth it. That would definitely be worth it.
Yeah. I mean, that in my mind so far, with the conversations I've been having and on the community group and direct to Jade, that Idex is some bit of kit.
Yeah, I want one.
Yeah,
Want one.
I'm very much so in the same boat.
Yeah. I've got to sell my CR30.
Yeah, I might sell the dogs.
I've got to sell my CR30, and then once I've sold the CR30, I can have printer money to spend on that. The only problem is by then I'm pretty sure the Kickstarter will have ended.
This is my gutter now, because I mean, no matter what I do, I ain't going to get the money before the Kickstarter's ended.
Interestingly enough, I put the CR30 up for sale on like Facebook Marketplace. No biters whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah, I
That's
was.
surprising.
I
Have you
was.
tried have you tried maybe on like what's it called? There's a buy sell swap printer group on Facebook.
No.
There's a
Well,
couple of them. I'll
there
try and
was
send you the link later.
there was UK printer sales.
Yeah. There's 2 or 3. I'll try and send you them across later.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be good.
It's worth putting them up there because people are always trying to get hold of the random and weird, aren't they? So
Well, they're also you can't get them at the moment.
that's what I mean. Everybody wants them but can't get them. I think the problem with that is at the moment, because everybody wants them and can't get them, it's the price tag.
Yes, that is the
That's
thing.
at the moment. I think that's the drawback with them at the minute. I was going to say we've got some filament codes, haven't we?
We do. We do.
We do.
Well, I think the first question is anybody in chat or who is watching that is chatting, make yourself known. Make yourself known, say something, anything in the chat, and then we can look at giving you some codes to get some filament. Is it free filament? Is it discount filament?
Basically, it is a code, so you get one for one that you buy.
Right, so you get a buy one get one free on filament.
Buy one get one free.
Excellent. So if anybody in the chat?
We
Anybody
did
in the
have,
chat?
and I think we've just lost a couple, and I can't see any. I don't know. Mine's quite weird on this.
Yeah.
No, we did have a few people in. Now I've got 7 codes total, and Iron has been nice enough to donate these to you, or to us, should I say?
To give to you.
To give to you. If not,
yeah,
then
it seems at the
we'll have
moment.
lots of filament.
It seems at the moment there's nobody active in chat. So without people
No.
active in chat, we can't
Give them away.
really give the codes away.
All we can do is, if nobody's active, is use them ourselves.
Well, yeah. I would much rather give them away. I mean, we can always use them in promotion afterwards.
Yeah. No, I'm joking. I mean, I'm luckily enough. I don't think I need to buy any more filament for a while.
Yes, and
so I'm kind of hoping.
I've got all my machines dialed into this very specific filament, which doesn't follow any of the rules of filament that I've ever tried ever.
I've got a whole stack of filament up there. I don't need any more.
Yeah. Well, like I say, all my profiles now are dialed into this very specific filament that doesn't behave like any other filament I've ever seen. And it's printing amazing.
And don't touch anything else.
Yeah. So unless it was to become a regular supply, I don't know how willing I am to recalibrate.
The best thing is, the best thing is, Neil is the only person buying that filament in the UK.
Pretty much.
So let's help that company stay afloat and keep start chatting.
Exactly.
And Neil doesn't have to get this filament.
So yeah, we do have codes. I will leave a message in the chat now for any newcomers. So we have some codes for filaments. So known in the chat to participate in the giveaway. There we go. Awesome.
See, I'm not getting that.
You're not getting what?
Any chat?
No.
No.
There's lots of chat there. There's been chat. AD was there. People have been there. People have come and gone. So it's all cool.
Yeah. I missed all of that. I'll have to find that. I will have to probably scroll through that at the end. I think because I've not got any.
Interesting. Well, that's something that we can work on for next time.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting outing.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, so we've covered quite a lot so far. We've covered quite a lot. There's a few more things that we could go over. Some things about design. Maybe we'll take a quick look at the vehicles that you have printed from the Fabricatum.
Okay.
And then take a look at the Fabricatum Kickstarter. And to be fair, I'd probably say with the amount of viewers that we have at the moment, probably call that a night.
Okay.
At the so that'll give us about another
rush.
20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah. If we suddenly get a rush, then maybe we'll make it a bit different. But
yeah, if some more people turn up and put some stuff into the chat, then we'll stay for a bit longer. But we'll see just how it goes. So.
All right.
Nice.
So
yeah, a bit more flagrant self-promotion here. We have been working on something pretty cool, or at least even if we do say so ourselves. We have this. So we have obviously we have just finished the Proxygenator's Gambit, which you have seen, Martin's War Frog.
My War Frog.
Your War Frog. And that has then led, the Proxygenator has done his thing, and he has marched his army of War Frogs up to the gates of the Fabricatum, and has now gained access to the industrial might of this sci-fi industrial land. Okay, so you can find it here on Kickstarter, and that is coming tomorrow. I repeat, tomorrow. So that is tomorrow. That's Friday the 14th. Okay,
Not
so
Saturday.
Friday the 14th.
Not
Releasing
Thursday.
at about 4 o'clock.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, so we can take a little sneaky preview here.
Look at this.
A little sneaky preview. So we've got the Proxygenator's Gambit, the Proxygenator's Fabricatum. We've got cooling stacks.
Anybody who hasn't got that, get on it, because that is such a cool print.
It really is. Like this,
I cannot describe how cool that is to print. It is so fun to watch.
This is one of my favourites. It's got to be said.
Epic.
Like that cooling tower, that cooling stack here. This radiator plant is.
I tell you what, even if you don't play any games, print them, put them on a shelf. They look freaking epic.
To be fair, you could stick a lamp in it.
You could stick a lamp. Honestly,
you could stick a lamp in it.
What I had thought about for this, was cutting out the windows and actually putting these slits through.
Yep.
Mounting LEDs inside.
Yep. The windows I could cut through anyway.
Yeah.
The slits on the top, not so much, because
good with the slits. But what I was going to do I've got like can't remember what you call them. It's like a hand drill pin vise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've got a pin vise. I was going to literally pin vise between the rotor blades
Yep.
and down these lines here. Then I was going to take these out and possibly put a slit in here in these lines
Mm-hmm.
on the back of the building.
Yep.
Mount a couple of LEDs on a battery with a switch.
Yep.
Boom. That would
Yep.
look insane.
You should also get light out between the fans as well in that one.
Yeah.
I think there's a gap that runs all the way through the fans.
I think on this one they are actually. No, I don't think there are, man. Oh yeah, there are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah, there are.
the fans are not solid.
No, they are. No, that's even better. You wouldn't even have to pin vise them.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
would be
yeah.
even cooler.
Yeah,
You
the
could-
light
you
would
could
come out of them.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
even get really funky if you were like really funky and had like loads of time on your hands. You put a drill up through here and come out of these cores.
I can't
You
see.
could actually pin
I
holes
can't see
through
what
these
you're
cores.
pointing at.
Oh, sorry, through the cores in the center on these.
Oh Jesus.
You could literally, if you ran a drill up through the center so deep and then put pins around the joints, that would look awesome.
Don't do that.
That would look awesome.
That smacks of effort, man. But
Yeah,
yes,
but that's what it's all
it would
about.
look
That's what
awesome. It
That's
would
what we
look
do.
absolutely amazing.
Wouldn't it? You put in these vents on the. Oh, you could do
I
so
mean,
much with these.
The windows and stuff on the side, I could totally I could cut them through. That could be a thing.
I
That's
think if you've done that on a board, if you've mounted like a little LED or a little
Mhm.
battery light, or even one of those tea candle lights that flicker,
Mhm.
that would give that such a pop.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I
I can cut those out. I can cut those
think
out.
that
That
could be
works.
pretty damn awesome. That
Mm.
because at least you're giving it another sort of aesthetic on the table. If
Mhm.
you're getting those lights,
Yep.
I think that would look pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I'll cut those out. No problems. I'll cut those windows out. I can't really cut holes in the roof section because that'll mess up the bridging.
Yeah, no, I didn't actually realise they were so. Even those ones, even those fans have got hole lights in them.
Mm.
You can actually see in the centres if you're looking up at the light. I can see light.
Oh yeah, yeah. But they don't go all the way through because you need a solid layer.
Round these blades, I can see light through them.
Right. Okay.
There. And there.
Yep.
So it will shine through.
Yes, yes, yes. But the
one.
hole isn't designed to go right through because you
No.
need a solid layer for it to bridge, and that's part of the design limitations.
I think that the way it's just thin enough, I think that will shine through there.
Yeah, yeah, it should do because you get
So
a
I
very
think-
loose weave on the bridging as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah. So I think that could be quite epic.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
think
I
that
mean,
could-
we've got a whole bunch of different. So the tank there is one thing. The other thing with all of these is you get them in a couple of different styles. So, for example, we have this one here, which the yellow building here, which is a very plain version. And if you look on the photo above it, we have the same building, but with lots of additional markings and greeblies attached to it. So you can have you can print out multiple versions of the same building, but it still looks different. So you can create that variation if you want to, or not. It's up to you.
If you're not worried.
Exactly. And with this yellow building here, this the pumping station, these vents go all the way through. So as you were saying, with all of these like vents, any vents that are on the sidewalls, especially,
Run through.
they go all the way through,
Yeah.
which will allow light to shine out. So you can put things like tea lights, LEDs on the inside, and they will
This,
light up.
this is what I'm thinking. I mean, even if you're not into it's like tabletop gaming and all the rest, they can be so functionally cool.
Indeed, indeed. Like there's lots of things that they could, but they're massive. They're absolutely huge.
And not
Like
small print.
this this thing here, the bunker warehouse that's in the center of this photo. What you have here is some lampshades with holes for LEDs specifically. So underneath those shades, it's like the dice tower support for the radar dice tower from Spool Towers. It has those lampshade bits. Same thing in there. So you can put LED strings in there. You've got here a couple of other vents and a fan vent, which will allow you to. This is 200 millimeters in diameter. That fan vent. So again, it's. Hang on.
They are big.
Let me see here if I can. There we go. This will help. This will help. Come on. Hang on. It's all disappeared now.
But like they say, bigger is always better.
Well, that is what they say.
Yeah.
But I've now lost the internet screen thing. So let's just.
It's still on for me at the minute, so we're all good. There it goes. Ooh.
It's disappeared. I tried to fix it. It's disappeared.
You're on the fan now.
Right. Can you see my cursor?
The yellow fan and the green.
Can you see my cursor?
No.
Oh, damn it. Hang on. No, I've lost it. Somehow. Oh dear. Hold on a second. Right. Window capture.
No, that's mine.
Internet screen.
That's my. That's Biolabs.
Yeah.
Dom.
But it's decided that it's going to stop working now. Damn it. Typical.
No, you will not show me.
It was all going so well as well.
Yeah, it was so smooth.
It was all going so well. And now we've stumbled at the last.
Oh, we're going on to a slideshow with all sorts now.
Yeah, I know.
This is great. Guess what picture and just talk about it.
Hang on. Hang on. Right, here we go. Awesome. Awesome. Right, we've got it. We've got it. It's here. It's back. Right, we're back. And it's still not capturing the cursor, so that didn't work at all. But yes, this fan vent is 200 millimeters in diameter. So it again massive. You can see here the plain versions, extra greeblies, and this is the pièce de résistance. This is what it's all about, okay? The construction vehicles, not just construction vehicles, modular construction vehicles.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's here. It's streaming. It's streaming.
Yeah, the modular construction vehicles, they are just absolute awesome.
Do you happen to you have some of those?
I do have some of them. I do have some.
Would you like to show the wonderful people in TV land?
Look at these. Look how cool these are. They all do like really cool things. Right. That's how cool they are. They all move.
Those are the turny wheels. Yeah.
Got turny wheels, and then we've got opening buckets, moving arms. They are epic. These are so cool to print. I mean, these really are not difficult to print either. These were pathetically easy, and they're all on a lock system.
Nice. So were there actually like genuinely any issues you encountered with the files?
The only one that was major was the one I got back to you on about the bucket.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the bucket weren't sitting, was it?
Yeah.
So
but that was just not leveled correctly, so we fixed that, and that was
I
that was
managed
all
to get
good.
it to print, even though it wasn't level.
Nice.
So that's what happened when we find a bad print.
That's what happens when we find a bad print, and then we fix it.
That is what happens. But when we fix it, that is what happens.
Nice. Nice.
So you
And
go from that to that.
nice.
And this
And
is why we test print them all.
that's why we do the test printing. That's why we have the process of testing and checking and printing and sending out to third parties to check and test and feedback.
Going on from there, this is how cool they are. You
Can't
print
see,
the wheels.
can't see them.
You print the wheels.
Yep.
Okay. Now these little kiddies have got a weird little angle on there.
Yep.
And they just push on. When you've got your printer right, unlike me at the minute, they just literally push on. And they're fully moving.
That's cool.
There's no gluing, no messing around, no getting stuck to the table and all the rest.
So for people in TV land that are wondering why I'm so amazed when these are apparently my models, is these are not my models. These were done by Theo, who is the other half of Digital Taxidermy, who's not here right now. And he designed these all on his own, so everything that I am seeing about these, I've not printed these. I've seen the files, but I've not printed these models. I am literally been dealing with chatting to other people and getting feedback on them and seeing results. So I'm pretty pleased with how these have all gone.
Right, so even the likes of this is all in parts. The only thing I found with this, I'm not sure if it's meant to be that way or it's not printed too clever. These two wheels here don't move.
Yeah, so as far as I'm aware, because they all printed as one piece on those on the half track, right? Or did
no,
they print off separately?
They're all separate.
Oh, okay.
But I'm wondering whether this might have actually been me, because the day I printed this one,
Yeah.
I've been running a mag bed for a long time.
Yeah.
The day I printed these, my mag bed decided it was time to die. It had been on there for 8 months and decided to get a split in it.
Okay. So I'm looking at the file at the moment, and it seems like it should be the same as the others. I'll just give it a quick slice and see.
It might have been a case I had swapped to a glass bed and perhaps my level was slightly out.
Well, let me just check the slice and I will see what that tells us.
The only other key one with this for everybody out there, this hinge here on the back is 2 little prints and the actual bucket print, if you like.
Yep.
Now those 2 little prints, if you've got your bed a bit too tight, so if you're a bit too close, your level's slightly out, and you get a little bit of what's known as elephant foot,
Yep.
you will have to trim round the top of these spikes for them to sit in there properly.
Oh, okay. That's good. I'll have a look at that as well.
Because you have to push those in from the top.
Yep.
That is actually, if you've got elephant foot, it's actually too tight to get in there.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? So you just trim around the top, push it down a bit more, dob of super glue, job done.
Yep. Yep, yep,
But that's the only thing I found out of all the vehicles so far is A, the bucket which we solved.
Yep.
Those which I think is my fault. I think I didn't adjust my bed properly when the other one died. And that's the only tip that I've come up with, is that will need trimming if you've got your bed level slightly out.
Okay. Yeah,
If
no,
your bed
the front wheel seems to
Yep.
follow the same slicing pattern as the big wheels that you had success with. So,
yeah, that would be my bed then.
right.
Because
Yep.
when I swapped bed, obviously the mag plate is about 3mm,
Yes.
whereas the glass bed's about 8mm.
So for people out there, obviously we work on making the tolerances as generous as possible for print in place parts. However, the key thing for print in place parts is your first layer.
Exactly.
If your first layer is too tight to the bed, you will not make those tolerances. Now, it is often possible to just hammer it, with a screwdriver or something to be able to free it up. And once it's free, you can start to work it loose. But really watch those first layers. Like, they are critical in the success of your print in place parts.
I've also had it where I've been a touch too tight, and what I've managed to do is get like an X-Acto blade.
Yep.
But be excessively careful. I'm not telling you
Yeah.
anybody to go and play with X-Acto blades and trim yourself up. Basically, if you get an X-Acto blade and get the tip, you can run round the joint.
So,
and it will free it back up.
from my perspective, I would say that's a total no-no. For the main thing that I don't recommend doing that. The way I usually solve those, is to get an Allen key.
Yeah.
Right, and I put that in the hole, and I hold the wheel, and I tap it on the bench.
Right, I'm with you.
Yep.
So
And because you've got a little bit of height in the top of the hub, that will give you enough movement to just snap the thing that's there. Now, obviously, if you've gone and really squished it up, then maybe you do want to use a knife, but I would never recommend using the knife in those scenarios.
Anybody go out and get it. Don't go out and do it that way if you're not 100% on what you're doing with knives. It's really not a clever idea.
I mean, I'm a carpenter. I'm all about blades, but I wouldn't. I mean, there's people that are turning around and they're saying that they're using craft knife blades, Stanley blades, to get things off their bed, and I'm like, what?
No.
No. What do you use for de-bedding things?
Generally, I'm pretty well set. I'm not the biggest lover on glass beds. I'm really not. Unless it's for filaments that really don't like sticking.
You'll love watching what I use. I've got a butter knife and a spanner.
I'm right.
A butter knife is amazing, right? And it's amazing because of this.
The flex.
It's thin, and it flexes, and if you all you got to do is give it a, and then it pops off.
Right. Up until doing the walker,
Yep.
I haven't had to use anything to get anything off my bed. So basically, let your bed cool down, mine pops straight off. Just
And if
literally.
you use glue stick, mate.
No.
Glue stick
Mine are
doesn't
all
make
cool.
you any less of a man.
I don't use it. I seriously don't really need to.
I just prefer the reliability of having it there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've never needed to be honest with you, Neil. My prints stick, and when they cool, they pop off. It's simple as that. The issue I found with this is this whole section here.
Yeah.
Stuck so freaking well to the glass bed, I couldn't remove it. It was so well stuck.
Good
That
old
to
1960s butter knife, mate.
I've got, from all the machines that I've tested and printed and used and everything else, I've actually got an abundance of scrapers. I must have 30, 40 scrapers.
Scraper's too thick.
They are.
Like,
I'm a metal polisher.
This is why it's like the difference in thickness between the butter knife and the scraper is.
I generally take mine to work.
Of course you do.
And I skim them a bit down so they're flexy. But yeah, that's it's the only tool I really use. I mean, my printers tend to be, I tend to try and run them as basic as I can on the bed. So if I've got a flex bed, I really like flex beds. I really rate them because it doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold. You peel it off, you flex it, carry on printing. Job done. I
liked the magnetic bed on my Pro. The only problem is the bed was a bowl, and then after trying to shim it out and like all the various things, I went to glass, and it's like, the glass.
I do like the glass. I do like the glass. The only time I've had it, I say any issue with glass is it's stuck too well. That's the only issue I've really sort of ran into. If I was printing on the flat side, the untextured, then I would probably try a glue stick, maybe. But on the textured side, I've never really needed to be honest. It's always done exactly what it says on the tin. It's all good in the hood, like.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know. Yeah, no, that's all good stuff. Hang on. So that was the modular construction vehicles.
Yes, they are epic. And if anybody's looking for something fun to print, definitely get on the vehicles. Definitely.
Yep. We've got some pictures on there of the painted up ones, and they just look great. And it is possible to mix and match and combine the chassis, the bases, the tools, and create an absolute multitude of different things.
And you can swap it. You don't want it on tracks. You take it off. You put it on the wheels. Oh, they're awesome, mate. They are.
So we're looking at increasing the modularity of them as well, by magnetizing some of the tops as well, some of the bits, so that you can then magnet hot swap some of the bits that are on the top section as well.
Oh, definitely. For me, out of this whole set, these were the most fun to do.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love the buildings. The buildings are stunning.
No, you don't have to flatter me. The buildings are what the buildings are. But these vehicles are definitely where it's at.
They are definitely fun to do. And like, the scope with them is awesome.
Mm.
You can just swap everything. It's fucking brilliant. Excuse my
Thanks.
friend.
Yeah. Theo will love hearing that. Like, yeah, I think they look amazing.
Really,
They
really
came out
impressed with
great.
them.
And I mean, we can have a little look on here.
My construction vehicles.
We've got
Let's run
a
up to
video.
this.
We've got a video from 3D Printed Soup. Now, 3D Printed Soup has done several reviews of our products before.
That's
and
right,
he came to us and was asking if he could get some files for the Death World Jungle and these vehicles. So we sent them over to him with the vehicles. We said, these are work in progress files, so let us know if there's anything wrong with them and everything. And we didn't get anything which directly said there's a problem with them. And then he said, by the way, the video's gone up. And
Hello, fellow makers. Welcome back to 3D Printed
this is
Soup.
basically what
if
he
you're a
said.
long-term viewer of the channel, you know that I like making 3D printed terrain for sci-fi games and tabletop adventures. And this week I thought I would make myself some construction vehicles. A company called Digital Taxidermy have been in touch. We've used them before. In fact, I printed out some of their stuff last week. Turned out very, very nicely. Check out the Death World prints for really cool plant and foliage terrain for your Death World games of 40k. This week I'm having a look at some of Digital Taxidermy's construction vehicles. Now these are sort of post-apocalyptic dark future vehicles. They are designed for cutting through planets and sort of hauling large amounts of like dangerous chemicals around the place, and they look really, really cool. So yeah, I've chosen a bulldozer one and a driller one, and I'm going to print these out, give them a paint and see how cool these look. Links in the description below as always. Check them out if you like them. Before we do that, however, don't forget to like and subscribe.
So he then goes on to do a sped up thing of the print, which takes a little while. But he was the first person outside of Theo to print these, so we were a little bit worried. Obviously, he didn't do the digger ones, so he didn't pick up on the error with the bucket file, which we fixed. But we were a little bit worried about whether he would get the print in place parts come out just fine. He picks that up at the end of the video. Just as a spoiler, they came out perfect.
Nice.
So yeah, he does.
These ones come out great. They're absolutely awesome to print. I was a bit skeptical at first, if I'm honest. When they were printing, I was like, and literally as I popped them off the bed, boom, started spinning. I thought, wow, spot on. Couldn't go wrong. Just,
like I say, with those sorts of things, it's not our first rodeo. We've been working on print in place turning wheels for quite a while. So the idea of having those hubs and the tolerances required to do it is something that we've been working on quite extensively.
Definitely. I think you've got it down.
It's not something that's unique to us, but it's definitely something that we include in more of our models than a lot of other people.
Yeah. You've definitely got it on the point there with those. They're definitely.
It's quite interesting, actually, that both you and him have not glued those wheels onto those bases. When I was talking to Theo about this, he was saying that they weren't designed to be snap fit.
I just wanted to see if it would hold itself. Basically, I wanted to see, would it slot in there and not fall out and function, and it does. it's it's not a case of they're falling out. They're in there strong. So for me, it didn't warrant gluing.
Brilliant. I'm all about
And
glueless models. I am
what I
all
thought
about
with it,
glueless models.
you can actually, because of the slope behind, you could actually angle these wheels
Right. Yeah.
to give it a different stance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I quite like the fact you can
Here
alter
you
the
go.
stance.
On his video now, you can see he's done exactly the same thing as you did, which is to not glue them in.
No.
And he was playing with them and spinning them, and they weren't
And
falling off. Which
no, they all hold true to their game. They're not going to fall out.
mhm,
So
yeah,
it's worked
brilliant,
out where that tolerance is pretty much spot on.
brilliant. Super
There's
happy
no,
with that. Super
there's
happy
no
with
real
that.
force to put them in there. I didn't have to struggle. They just literally slide in there as long as you get them up the right way.
Yes.
Because it's a 2-point triangle. In here, you've got one angle that's more or less like this, and the other back on itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you get it upside down, they fall off.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because it locks into the taper.
Yeah, it won't sit into the taper bright otherwise. You'll
Brilliant.
struggle to get it to sit in.
Well done, Theo.
So yeah, well done, Theo. That's
Well done, Theo. And you
Don't get a
you
big
can
head
see
up.
on there is he's also done the same thing with the legs on the walker. He's not glued those in, and everything is flexible. Everything works, and
Does what
he's.
it does.
It was quite interesting actually when we watched his video. Theo said to me, "Oh, I'd never thought of just taking the tools off and using it as a civilian vehicle." So that's another use that you have for it is just take the tools off, and then
This
you.
one especially, this one, I love the digger, the bucket,
Yep.
but that is so cool without it. That is just so cool. That is like proper moonraker.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I was saying earlier, or trying to get across earlier. With these, you have got so many funky little options going on with them.
Mm. Yeah, I think based on that platform, we'll probably be again doing other things that can then click lock in, like other wheelbases, and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, in the stretch goals, actually, so one of the things that we've got, so the first thing, this has been done and test printed. I've got some little surface vents which have basically come from the time machine. I don't know if you recognise these as the Morlock mines.
I was going to say
They're
mines,
not the
right?
Morlock mines, honestly. But these also, this is very cool because it's a circular vent.
Is that hollow?
It's circular and it
Nice.
prints without supports.
Nice.
And it prints really nicely without supports as well, which I was very happy about.
I already know what I'm doing with them.
What are you doing with them?
I have idea.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
We have ideas with them.
Excellent.
That could work.
And then after those, we have got modular damage vehicle parts. Then more modular damaged vehicle parts. So we're doing damage on those. But as we get a bit further down, we're going to be adding a cement mixer truck. And yeah. And we're talking about adding a crane. Now, our thoughts on the crane was that it would have 2 of those wheelbases.
What I would love to see.
Go on then.
What I'd love to. Do you know the dockyard cranes?
Oh yeah, I've got plans for something like that.
Where you've got two wheels either side at back, two
Yeah,
wheels
yeah,
either
yeah,
side
yeah,
at
yeah.
front. But then with that long rigger on the top,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I would love to see something along those lines.
I've got plans for something like that. But
That will work well.
that's on the back burner. That's on its way.
That
I would love to see one of those as well, because one of the
I
things that we have is
trash can.
containers already. And these are print in place doors as well. So this goes together without glue. So you can pull this all apart like
I
that.
think I need that.
So they print flat, and the door opens and flaps about like that.
See, now you're getting me into a whole new zone where I kind of want to add loads more stuff to the biolabs.
Yeah. You see, the proxygenator, he doesn't live around the biolab. The biolab is a long way away from the proxygenator.
Yeah, but like we're doing a hybrid merge.
Ooh, ooh. Now you're mixing fluff.
Yeah. Now we've got to mix the fluff and mix realms and all sorts, I think, now, mate.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
oh,
the proxygenator, he is the mechanical expert. The dystopian future is kind of like the inner city, like the mega cities, like in Judge Dredd.
yeah.
And then the biolab is the remote underground complex that,
Yeah,
you know,
I can see some things getting lost down in the labs.
yeah. Well, things are coming from the lab. That's the problem.
So now we've got to combine a way of trying to stop the things coming from the lab.
Ah, aha. Well, that leads on to the things that are coming on the Patreon.
Ah,
Um,
okay, this is all news.
well, I mean, it kind of is. It kind of is. I mean, you can have a sneaky peeky. We
Come
have
on,
on the Digital Taxidermy Buyers Club. Here you go. You can see sneaky peeky number 2.
Come on, let's have a little sneaky peek.
Sneaky peeky number 2. Some people have found what is coming from the biolab. And if you look nice and closely in his eye patch there, you can see something horrible coming from the biolab. But if you keep your eyes on the Digital Taxidermy Buyers Club Patreon, you'll be able to see over the next few months the people that are going to discover and explore the biolab and the things that are coming from it. And I can tell you, again, this is not something that I am designing. This is from one of our other designers. And they are looking amazing.
They're looking naughty.
They are looking really good. So
Ooh.
he's got a nice range of guys that have got some very interesting characters, shall we say.
That looks a bit tasty from there. I could.
He's done some test prints of the a couple of the final sculpts. There's a few things to tweak, but we should see the results coming out very soon.
Oh, looking forward to that one.
Oh yeah,
Definitely looking forward to that.
You will definitely like what's coming out of there. So,
I'm liking that.
Yeah. There's some good stuff coming.
Definitely. I can't wait to see them actually, because that's one thing that for me I can use anything. I can use any scenery, I can adapt it and use it for whatever I play because I play such a diverse range of games. On its own, the Biolabs at the minute, it's awesome.
Yep.
But it's been missing something, and it looks like it might finally be coming.
Yes. Yes, I mean, so the obvious thing from anybody who has been following Digital Taxidermy from the beginning is that me and Theo specifically specialize in terrain. Obviously, Theo has been creating a series of robots with like the CRD drones, the Santa robot, and a bunch of others. Yeah. And of course the giant walking frog Titanic mech APC thing. Fido. Yeah, exactly. So Theo has been producing those, but predominantly we produce scenery. Now, Lucas, who's just come on board with us to do some sculpting, has decided that he is going to be specializing in miniatures. So he has an entire army of these guys themed to release on Patreon over the next 6 to 8 months.
He's a good boy, isn't he?
Yeah, so watch this space because those are going to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
And not only will there be these guys, but there will also be their enemies. So
I seriously can't wait for that because I think that will just elevate the game. The actual design, the board, and everything. I just think that will. So mind blowing. Love it.
Absolutely. So expect these guys that have found the lab, and there will be more creatures that have come from the lab.
I'm looking forward to that. I really am. I always like a good guy, but I think I don't know. I generally the evil sort of stuff is where I end up getting drawn to. I love painting evil and weird and wonderful. That's my sort of main fixes on weird stuff. If I'm honest.
Don't worry, you'll be able to get your Giga-esque fixes out of these. Like I'm pretty sure there's there's going to be some pretty hefty nightmare fuel like that. Yeah. You're going to be able to disturb your sleep patterns definitely. So
problem is when I ever get sort of most big bundles from you, I tend to not have a sleep pattern.
Good. Glad we can be of service.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I think on that note, we've now been going 3.25 hours. We've probably got to a point. Yeah, we've probably got to a point where we can call it a night and say, well, I've really enjoyed this as a first outing.
I've had fun.
Excellent. So
definitely fun. And
so to all those people out there in TV land or YouTube land, because we're going to be uploading this to YouTube later on the Digital Taxidermy channel. Firstly, please follow us on Twitch because we're going to do this again and it would be really handy to get notified and have you come along. We'd like to have you on board. Don't forget to participate in the chat.
Some comments out of you. That is our goal. Our goal is to get some of you chatting and basically, if nothing else, let's help you out or you help us out.
Yeah. We want to get to know you, want to get to know what you want. We can ramble on for ages about any old stuff. But if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat and we'll see what we can do.
We'll ramble on about whatever you want us to ramble about.
Yes.
No problem.
Absolutely. So yeah, follow us, follow the Twitch channel so you get notified of the next time that we go live. Don't forget to drop your comments in the chat because that really helps to direct where we go. We're going to be putting this on YouTube so that you can watch this again later. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because that is going to help the channel grow. The more growth, the more people know about it, the more we're going to do, and the more beer we're going to drink. So get on board with that.
To join Under the Hot End on Facebook or on Instagram. If you need any pointers or any printer assistance or product assistance, jump on there, drop a message or a comment, and I will do my best to help you out there.
Martin's a great lad. He's very active in those channels and also has lots of codes for Filament. So check out Under the Hot End for competitions, fun and frivolity, and general mayhem.
We've got all sorts coming up, people. The more people we can get in here, the more giveaways I will be able to create for you guys.
This is 100% true.
I can get you all sorts. All sorts.
Yep.
So, A, jump on Under the Hot End on Facebook.
Yep.
B, jump onto Digital Taxi on Facebook. Like, follow, comment as much as possible. Join in here as much as possible, and we will do everything we can
your
to
friends,
make it the best.
Tell your mum. Tell your enemies. Tell the people you've never met before. Just tell people.
Tell your nan. Print a big sign. Print a big Digital Taxidermy stroke Under the Hot End sign and post it out there.
Yep. Lovely. Everybody will love that.
Print a Digital Taxidermy goes Under the Hot End sign and prints it all over Facebook, I will find you and get you a roll of filament.
Now that's a deal. That's a deal.
I will get you a roll of filament. I will even contact you, get your details, and send it to you.
Well, I believe Martin has a model of Under the Hot End already.
I have.
Do you have one? Do you have one?
I do.
There you go.
I have an Under the Hot End model. I just pulled off the base. So we have an actual official Under the Hot End printed model designed by the guys at Digital Taxidermy.
Designed by Lucas, who is designing the guys for the Biolab.
If we do get a big enough following, I've got a competition based around this guy where you will win something.
There you go. There you go.
There we go.
Martin is the place to go for prizes. Get yourself over to Under the Hot End for prizes, discounts, giveaways, general mayhem, and more. Okay,
and
so
a little more.
Don't forget over this weekend, that would be from the 14th to 15th, 16th, possibly, end of the 16th. Early bird deals on the Proxygenators Fabricatum. You'll get the vehicles, you get the buildings, you get everything, plus all the stretch goals, plus a ton of loot and booty, and our ever-loving gratitude for everything for very low price. Happy days. Get involved with that. Don't forget, check out Digital Taxidermy Facebook page, and we also have a group where you can stack up some of those sweet likes with over at the Digital Taxidermists. Okay, so that's me for now. I'm gonna say goodbye.
I'm gonna say see you later.
All right then, take it easy, people. Bye now. We'll see you later.
See you soon.
See you next week for another
week.
episode of Digital Taxidermy Gets Under the Hot End.
Let's get hot and sticky.